way to express my views on education system. I have spent almost little more than 50 years in this combined experience of academics, academic administration, and industrial jobs. So this talk is little different than what we have gone yesterday and what we are going the remaining period. The things are discussed in terms of if we visualize education system as a multi-story building. Today I'm going to talk about the basement and the building such that even education system should not get imbalanced. So I'm not very much interested in putting paintings and curtains, etc., in the building, but I'm more interested in making it stronger. And when we talk about the education system, we quite often read that education system is declining, it is going down, and it is affecting the prosperity of the nation. Prosperity of the nation means the people and everything is included in this. We make a lot of policies, we make a lot of rules, a lot of criteria are formed, rolled out and sent to people to follow them. It is just like putting curtains and paintings and beautiful windows, etc. in the building. But we seldom know that the walls on which we are going to put these paintings or notifications, etc., that building, that wall itself is not very strong. So today, this talk is concentrated on, instead of talking the limitations of education system, I'm going to talk about how to strengthen this, how to take care of the limitations existing today. And we should also understand the purpose of conducting examinations, midterm examination or mid-sem examination, end-term examination or end-sem examination. We are following this as a ritual. We have grown in this ritual, and the ritual being followed generation after generation. Now we have reached the stage of saturation where we have to think and probably go tangential to what we have been going till date. And this is to develop the mental state of our young generation, which we call them as students, the ability of our teachers who are teaching in the classroom. And the third is, like, there are three blocks here. One is the teaching professional, other is the students, and the third, the system or the country who is going to get benefited by this. With this background, I will talk about the first that I'm taking here is the open book system or open book examination. We are all familiar across the country. In most of the places, we are ritually following closed book examination system. We seldom spend time to analyze the pros and cons of this system. The other system which I'm going to talk is the open book examination system. So I'll present my viewpoint on this, and I request the audience to participate actively in the talk so that we continuously keep improving our thoughts and our, say, proposal that I'm putting forward. So with this, I start. ठंड तो इतनी नहीं है, फ्रीज हो गया. एक second, let me see. It's changing here. Let it be like this. So here I will say that technology is getting upper hand. We are not able to do what we wanted to project. So we are projecting what the system is allowing us to project. Just half a minute on this. Traditional closed book examinations emphasize rote memorization, often causing undue strain to assess higher order thinking skills. This doesn't require any explanation on this. In contrast, open book examinations, OBE I call it here, is not outcome-based education, is open book examination in my terminology here. Provide a more holistic approach to learning by encouraging conceptual understanding, critical thinking, and real-world problem solving. This is great, as you can see the difference in the two concepts. Examinations are a cornerstone of the education system designed to assess student knowledge and skills. However, the conventional closed book examination model often rewards memorization rather than comprehension. This is again well understood by us. We did it. It is continuing and it will continue if we do not change at this stage. Open book examinations, which allow students to refer to textbooks, notes, and other reference materials, are gaining recognition as a superior alternative. Reason open book test, the student is not under any stress of memorizing the content or the notes or the numericals, whatever things are given to him in the classroom. He got to know that if it is open book, where to locate, where to search, and what to write. And this improves the analytical skill and thought process of a student rather than memorizing and spilling everything on the answer sheet. Relieve exam pressure. The student is not under pressure that are not able to memorize. It's a biggest thing. People go under depression because of this. They fail, they spoil their grades because they are not able to memorize. But the best thing is if they understand where to find the answer. This is what we want, that person should have the understanding. So this relieves that pressure, promote deeper learning, encourage class participation, and align better with real-world professional requirements. The third point, encourage class participation here is when you are engaging a student in an open book test and you are not teaching everything verbatim what is written in the textbooks, you have to add up your experience, teaching experience, research experience. He will never find in any of the textbooks. So he will be compelled to attend the class, otherwise he can't perform in the open book examination system. So that's why I always say that attendance system I hate because it's not serving any purpose. And this my colleagues can certify everywhere in every place in the country. Attendance rule is made compulsory, but it is not followed verbatim. I can say this very strongly. Advantage of open book examination relieves exam pressure. One of the biggest drawbacks of closed book exams is the immense pressure placed on students to memorize large volumes of information. OBEs shift the focus from memorization to understanding, allowing a student to apply concepts without the anxiety of forgetting key facts. He can always refer to a published material which he or she is having in the classroom. This fosters a more positive learning environment, encourages conceptual understanding and critical thinking. OBs require students to engage with the material on deeper level. Instead of regurgitating information, a student must analyze, interpret, and synthesize knowledge to answer complex questions. This approach nurtures problem-solving skills and critical thinking essential for academic and professional success. It promotes brainstorming and creativity. Rather than simply recalling information, students in OBX setting must think critically and develop unique solutions. I'll come to that, how the problems and question paper is set for open book examination, such that it is not a straight copybook, you copy paste system and getting good grades. It is to burn the oil or lubricate the mind before the person is able to write the exam, the thing answer. Maintain self-respect and academic integrity. This is a very major thing which we have failed till date to answer ourselves. Even everywhere there is a squad, which is sometimes somewhere people call it a flying squad, to raid the examination hall, individual frisking of candidates, whether you are having any cheats or material or anything to assist your examination system. So the thing involved here is, why should we do this? If you are frisking a candidate openly public, doesn't it mean that you are insulting a student by assuming that he is a cheat? In the advanced world, they go with the principle that everybody is honest till proved. But we in this country go with the principle that everybody is a cheat till proved otherwise. So I am against this friction or flying squad system. Why do you give that leverage to a student that he should prepare cheats or he should hide something, some Bluetooth devices, or say there are lot many things in the market today. कहता ना कि कभी पुलिस आ गई, चोर आ गए. This thing is happening in this country. There are shops where you can buy things that fit into your button, that fit into various places. The teacher cannot find out. Paper can be transmitted out, answers are given, and you can write and get the grades. So these things will fail if you resort to this open book examination, which is application based. Nothing direct can be asked in this open book examination. If you ask things, straight things in the examination system, then the system is failing. So I'll discuss this more in detail little later. Passive learning is discouraged and students are more likely to engage with course material in meaningful ways. I will also propose a system where you can form a question paper covering your CIF from A to Z. But if you do not frame your question paper the way I'm going to suggest, 5 questions, 8 questions you can give in the question paper. A student, you will ask, attempt all 5, maybe any 4 or any, give 8 or ask any 5 or any 6, whatever you want to set in. In 5 to 6 questions, no teacher can cover the entire syllabus or entire CIF. So this onus is also on the faculty members to design a question paper in such a way that a student cannot take it lightly कि I will prepare only 50%, I will be able to pass. Mix up A to Z like this such that a student is not in a position to take a decision, all right, I will prepare 50%, I will be able to pass. So in this system, it's not possible. Aligns with real world professional practices. In professional settings, individuals rarely rely on memory alone. They consult manuals, guidelines, and digital resources. So when a student is compelled to refer to these documents, handbooks, textbooks, classroom material for searching the answer that is looking for, whatever he goes through during those 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour examination, I am absolutely sure you will agree with this. The student will be able to retain little more than what he is going through during the examination system. Because when he refers to the material, something will be retained. If not 100%, 50%, if not 50%, let us say 1%. So this is a gain of the system that when referring to the material, he will retain something additional than what is required in the examination. OBs mirror real world scenarios where problem solving and analytical skills are more important than rote knowledge, making students better prepared for their careers. The closed book system only makes a person or forces a person to memorize, and then nothing beyond that. Your questions are tailor-made. And a worst problem here is, like I was asking here also, they come and collect 2 copies of a question paper. I ask them, why do you need 2 copies? They say 1 copy will keep in the library so that the student can refer. So first thing is, what is this we are doing? You want a student to learn a subject, or you want a student to prepare something which he feels important and finish the matter? Are you really supporting him in developing the analytical power? If you ask me, I'm against the system of keeping the question paper in the library. It should not be done. You are making a person physically, mentally incapable. You force a person, go through the textbooks. That is why textbooks are not sold in the market these days. We offer them printed notes. They take pictures of whatever you are showing, whatever you are taking, they make the recordings and come prepared, memorizing that what is being transmitted, and they just write it down on the answer sheet, and they say, we have got 90% marks. So what does it indicate? Is it the intelligence or analytical power of a student or an individual, or his capacity to memorize and reproduce? So we have to look into this. If you want to make a stronger nation, the person should be mentally strong such that can take decisions correctly. So any system that forces student to memorize and reproduce, and that too referring to only class notes. So what I have experienced in the 50 years experiences, when we were at the undergraduate level, we were taught basically by using the textbooks by our teachers. When it came to the master's level, we were introduced to the concept of notes. And then we realized that if you reproduce what you study or write down from the notes, you will get marks. I can share my experience of master's program in IIT Delhi. I was, because of earlier practice, I was referring to handbooks and textbooks. I prepared the subject well from the American Welding Society handbook. It was a welding test. I wrote. I was in the library till 2 a.m. in the morning. Morning 8 o'clock, I was in the examination hall. When I received my answer sheet, in one question, which was of 10 marks, I got only 2 marks. And then there was a person from Indian Army who was on deputation for his master's program. He was awarded 10 out of 10. I requested him, sir, can I see your answer sheet? He said, why? I said, I want to learn how to write answers. I want to know how to increase the knowledge. When I saw his answer sheet, it was a shock of my life. He had written only 3 lines without any explanation, and he was awarded 10 out of 10. I had written 14 points instead of 3 points. I made the diagrams also, I had explained, and got only 2 marks. Then somehow I grabbed the answer sheet, went to the teacher. I asked him, sir, please explain the deficiency in my answers, where you have awarded only 2 marks, and this answer sheet is having 10 out of 10. He said with little arrogance, show me. I showed both the answer sheets. He said, you keep wasting your time. You're writing unnecessary what I'm not asking you to write. You should have written what I have taught in the classroom. I had taken my notes also. I told him these are the 3 points you taught in the class. And these 3 points are written not in the same sequence, but these points, within 14 points I've written, these points are existing. He said, लाइए. मैंने क्या? He then said 7. मैंने what is nonsense? You are not ashamed of your checking procedure. You're not ashamed of the content that you have taught to me in the classroom. I have studied in the library. I have produced so much about this topic. And you are still saying कि all right, मैं 7 नंबर कर देता हूँ. मैंने कहा, I'm not begging you. मैं भीख नहीं मांग रहा हूँ. He said, आप बदतमीजी कर रहे हैं. I'm reproducing within quotes. It was a Hindi conversation. He said, आप बदतमीजी कर रहे हैं. I said, whatever you take it. If you do not do the justice, I'll go to the director. I'll not stop here. बहुत बड़ा झगड़ा हुआ, उन्होंने 9 कर दिए. फिर मैंने सोचा यार दिस टीचर को शर्म नहीं है, तो मैं क्या करूं, कहां तक जाऊं? So this is the experience I'm telling you. Class notes giving to the students is poisoning their career. Never give class notes. And why do you give class notes? You do not want them to study the textbook. You do not want them to open the textbook for knowledge. Is the class attending is only for passing the examination? What is our concept as a faculty? My concept as a faculty is to transmit knowledge, not to see that a student is able to get grades. What will you do in the industry? What will you do in the professional life with this knowledge? So what is happening here is those 6 points were given. When I become a teacher, I will give only 4 points. When my student becomes teacher, he will give only 2 points. So the subject is shrinking every day. This is because we are relying on notes technology. हम अपलोड करते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स आर वेरी हैप्पी, अरे ये टीचर बड़ा अच्छा है, इसने नोट्स अपलोड कर दिए. व्हाट इज दिस? किस दुनिया में जी रहे हैं हम लोग? हम अपनी वाहवाही करना चाहते हैं या देश को बचाना चाहते हैं? Youth is getting wasted here in this place because of this. Not this place means I'm talking about the country. Addressing common misconceptions about OBE. Some people say OBE promote cheating. Critics argue that OBE makes it easier for a student to cheat. Arey Baba, what is this nonsense? Person is having access to books, textbooks, handbooks, everything is allowed. I write my answers. I'm doing open book examination here for my all exams. I write in the instructions very clearly, which I transmit through classroom also 1 week in advance. These are the instructions, go through. And then the same thing is in the printed form given to a student on the examination day. I write very clearly, you are allowed to bring any or all the material that you think can assist you writing the answers. Not one book. You can keep the truck parked outside the classroom. And if you think that you need to refer to another book, third book, fourth book, from my side, it's all allowed. So where is the concept of teaching? Cheating in this concept. What will you cheat? I'm not able to understand this. This is a wrong claim. However, if exams are designed to test application and analysis rather than direct recall, access to books does not guarantee success. So once again, I'll come to this point at the later stage. Question paper has to be set in a way that a student is not asked to reproduce, like simply if you ask what is Ohm's law, or what are you testing? You will award marks for what? Just to reproduce Ohm's law? If you ask Ohm's law assumptions and why these assumptions are made, that shows a person has the understanding of the concept. We do not ask that what are the assumptions in Ohm's law. So our education means knowledge. Where the knowledge? It is mugging only. It is memorization only. Well-structured questions require students to demonstrate comprehension and original thought, minimizing the scope for dishonest practices. क्या लिख के लाएगा? जो किताब ही लेके आ रहा है एग्जामिनेशन के अंदर, bringing the full book. Do you think he will spend time in making a chits? Do you think he will keep a book in somewhere in the washroom or some other place? Do you think that he will bring the thing what is this called as Bluetooth and other devices for cheating. Who will assist him? If the question is very twisted question, application based, it's not a straight question. Even the person sitting outside the senior level or senior class won't be able to help him, even who transmit the question to him. So onus is on the teacher. The system is wonderful if the paper is set wonderfully. Otherwise, it is a worse situation. If the teacher doesn't frame the question paper as it should be for open book examination, then the things are gone. OBs reduce the need for studying. Some believe that OBs encourage laziness since the students rely on books instead of preparing. However, effective open book exams require a thorough understanding of the subject. Students who do not study will struggle to locate and apply relevant information within the exam's time constants. Some of my colleagues who have shared the examination hall duty with me, must have observed that in my test, till the end of the time, 1.5 hours or 3 hours, students who do not attend classes or students who do not come prepared, how to locate it, where to locate, what is the course content, they keep shuffling till the end. They are not able to understand, attend even 25% of the question paper because they did not come prepared. So this concept that people say doesn't hold any water here. Open book examination offer a progressive approach to assessment, emphasizing understanding, application, and critical thinking. By reducing stress, encouraging active learning, and aligning with professional practices, OBEs represent a more effective and meaningful evaluation method. Educational institutions should embrace OBEs to better prepare students for both academic success and real-world challenges. Recommendations. There was a conclusion on that part only. It's not concluding the talk. It will continue. So recommendations: implement OBE in higher education. Universities should incorporate open book formats, particularly in subjects requiring analytical and problem-solving skills. Design effective exam questions. Questions should focus on application and synthesis rather than direct recall to ensure meaningful assessment. So the one thing is very clear. If you are going for open book examination, you just cannot afford to give any straight question. You have to twist the question. It should be application based. Like I give you one example here, application based. In one of the exams at IIT, I asked students to give a procedure for fabricating a ship, and I wrote the name of around 3-4 oceans and around 6 seas, and asked them to suggest the material, asked them to suggest the welding procedure. Most of the students ask us, ship to pani mein chalta, why are you naming the seas here or oceans here? So when I say application based, person should understand why the teacher is writing the name of the sea or the ocean. The twist was here only. So all those who can correlate the name of the ocean with the welding problem could write, rest all failed. The reason is simple. When you are going to the Arctic Ocean, the temperature is very low. The metal goes through ductile to brittle transition, and it will happen like Titanic. You must have seen. Titanic failed because of this problem only, ductile to brittle transition. So the students know the ship that you are fabricating has to sail in these oceans and seas. We'll first consider, okay, Arctic Ocean is mentioned here. So I have to take a property that takes very increased toughness at low temperatures. So this is what the twist you have to introduce in the question paper. Without knowing this, no textbook will refer or give this clue in the textbook. Is that information from various sources to be clubbed together to write the answer for this. This is the meaning of open book examination. Train educators. I have marked it red because we are the educators. And if the system is not a success, then responsibility lies with the teacher. So we are basically the people in the multi-story building. We are digging the foundation, making a foundation, and then everybody can take care of the remaining building. So my concentration is on the foundation and basement area. Faculty members should be trained to develop OBE-friendly curricula and examination formats. Blend OBE with traditional assessments. A hybrid approach can be used to balance different assessment methods and cater to diverse learning styles. To make open book exams truly challenging and meaningful. Now, this is when I have said so much about the beauty of open book examination. So there must be something that says very strongly, yes, it is to be tried. An open book exam is only as good as the questions it asks. If the questions are too simple or fact-based, students will just copy answers without applying their knowledge. So it is the duty of a teacher, because a student goes to a university to increase the knowledge. A student doesn't go to the university for increasing the mugging power. And this is where majority of our colleagues do not take seriously. The day when the teacher takes it seriously, yes, my duty is to ensure the knowledge gained to the student, then only I can say that I'm a teacher. But this introspection needs to be done, whether I'm really teaching in the classroom. This is a question that I ask to myself, and everybody should ask that whether we are really teaching in the classroom. And for this purpose, if we are teaching, then we should also be able to say, yes, my teaching is causing the value addition to the knowledge. If the value addition not taking place, if it is only mugging and getting grades, ask it at ke andar, if you ask the student, they say, yeah, grades, only their objective in life is in the university is taking grades or obtaining grades. They do not say knowledge because they are not trained that way. We seldom talk in the classroom or seldom guide students that they have come to the university for the value addition in the knowledge base. We simply start teaching them, conduct exam, award marks, they go to the next class. What is happening? Do you think it's a value addition to the knowledge? I'll say no. We have to ensure that it's taking place. Until we certify that the students have gained something, then means we are failing. To make open book exams truly challenging and meaningful, teachers should focus on higher order thinking rather than rote recall. जैसे जो questions, whatever questions were given to us during our college days, we should not tend to repeat them. We should tend to improve upon them. Yes, this question can be improved such that it invites or challenges the student for brainstorming. The question should be like a brain teaser. Until we are giving a question in the form of brainstorming or brain teasing, then the knowledge cannot be expressed by a student. You cannot award marks for something that is not required. Focus on application, not recall. Instead of asking what is the formula for cutting speed in machining, why should we ask direct question? People generally mug up. Students also are smart because in the classroom we are teaching them this is how the machining speed is calculated. If we ask the same thing in the examination, we are making a joke of everything. A machinist is facing, like the question can be framed like this: a machinist is facing issues with tool wear while machining mild steel. Based on cutting speed calculations and material properties, what recommendations would you give? Now tell me, is this not challenging the thinking process of a student? Even if he knows how to calculate cutting speed, it is of no use to him. He should correlate now the complete knowledge on machining, tool material, machine material, then wear rate, and what can affect the wear of a cutting tool. If the student doesn't have the knowledge about the subject, he cannot get marks. And we do not want to award marks to any student who doesn't know the subject. But for this, we first have to understand what we are asking. I think most of you can appreciate the pressure this will bring to a mind of a student. In mild steel only the tool wear is taking place. What recommendations? Why tool wear is high? What is happening? What is the mechanism which is increasing the tool wear? So in one question, simple question, you have compressed so much of material in one statement. If you ask the first statement, what is the formula for cutting speed in machining? Student भी खुश, teacher भी खुश, ठीक. Use case-based or scenario-based questions. Provide real-world industry problems where students must analyze, evaluate, and apply concepts. For example, a manufacturing plant experiences inconsistent weld quality despite using automated welding systems. Given the process parameters and material data provided, suggest possible causes and corrective actions. Now, will it not invite the total analysis and correlation of what the student has studied in the welding or any subject for that matter? Without knowing what are the defects, what are the problems, how to correct those defects, person cannot write. But if you write what is TIG welding or anything, or if you simply write what is machinability, is this a question first? It's not a question. So I can give one more example here. Industry problems where students must analyze. After the final year, students are ready to join. Not all, some students are ready to join the industries. A working industry where a lot of, since my core subject is welding technology, I will beg your pardon that do not take it that I am teaching welding. I'm just referring it for explaining the problem. One XYZ process is used by the industry for years together, and you have joined after passing out from this institute. Let us assume that there comes a vendor, customer, who says, I want to place a huge order worth crores of rupees, and that will last for many years. So no industry wala will say no to it. But majority of cases, the owner doesn't know the technology in our country. So since you are a recently appointed shop floor manager or manager in the factory, you will be called. The problem will refer to you. And you will be asked, since you are the shop floor manager, please tell us that can we accept the order? If order is accepted, what are the changes to be done? Is there a need to buy a new equipment? Is there a need to have a greater space for taking this order? So these are the things given to you. Now you as a shop floor manager respond. Your marks will be awarded only when I go through your responses. The response will be given by a student only if he has the complete knowledge of that subject. If he doesn't have the subject, he cannot write. Give you a simple example. Suppose the person is using a most commonly seen welding operation that you see on the roadside, shielded metal arc welding process. And the customer says, I want to get it done using the gas metal arc welding. Until the student or the shop floor manager knows what is the major difference between the two processes, whether equipment is same, whether I will be required to hire a new equipment, etc., etc., then only you can reply to your management. And if you do not respond to your management correctly, then the factory will be doomed and you will also be doomed. Factory closure means you're out of job and you will simply blame the factory. You will never blame yourself that because of you only the factory got closed. And if you see the scenario in the country, the number of factories we had in 50s and 60s and up to 70s, they do not exist anymore. Reason? The textbook teaching to the notes teaching to the notes reduction teaching continuously in the classroom is depriving students of the true technical knowledge they should carry to enter the shop floor. This mismatch is very, very wide now. We have to reduce it. I'll tell you some more examples little later. Require justification, reasoning, ask why and how questions to force critical thinking. This is the very first lecture I tell my students. You have come to the classroom, why? My first question, why and how? Daily class, when we go, there are students in the classroom. My first question to them is, why you come to the class? दिमाग खराब था या you were compelled? कुछ तो रीजन होगा. ठीक, उनको satisfy them, tell them why are they in the class. Then I start teaching. Pin drop silence. I start teaching. It's going on. Bell ring होगी. बच्चे अपने घर, हम अपने ऑफिस के अंदर. Next class. My first question before starting lecture is, tell me, why did I teach you this in the last class? Sir, we don't know. Then why didn't you ask? कि मैं पढ़ा क्यों रहा हूँ? एक टीचर जो क्लास में पढ़ा रहा है, क्यों पढ़ा रहा है? आप क्लास में क्यों आए हो? आज की डेट के अंदर these questions we do not ask. We do not say prepare students mentally that they should know why the teacher is teaching. They should know why they are attending the class. Example, compare CNC milling and additive manufacturing for producing aerospace components. Justify which process is preferable for lightweight, high-strength applications. Now this question, if you take the first part only, compare CNC milling and additive manufacturing for producing aerospace components, a student may still be able to write answer. But if you take the second point, justify which process is preferable for lightweight, high-strength applications. Now see how much volume of knowledge the student should have now. The one statement has increased the pressure on the student. He should know what is high strength to weight ratio, what is specific model of elasticity, etc., etc. Until he has this information, he cannot respond. So each question may be written in one line, but that question should force the student to go through the complete chapter on that topic. He should be able to turn out the information, combine and then write. Include multi-step problem solving, make students combine multiple concepts to solve a problem. Example here is, a company wants to reduce machining cost by selecting an optimal cutting tool. Given material properties, tool life equations, and cost data, determine the best tool and justify your selection. We are not asking which tool is the best tool for machining. We are not asking which cutting tool material is best for machining. We are asking him to suggest and why that suggestion is made. So this is how the knowledge is extracted from the candidate. The other thing is, in Indian scenario, in the Indian university system, generally students' demands are numerical should be there. Please include numericals in the question paper. I don't know whether you have this experience or not, but students usually prefer numericals in the examination. I said, all right, I'll give you numerical in the examination. I gave a numerical with lot of redundant data. lot of blunders, conceptual blunders in the data that I gave, and then gave some parameters. These are the parameters used. You have to calculate the tool life or whatever I'm asking to respond. But the next statement is first identify the redundancy in the numerical, conceptual blunders, and suggest the right range of data. I do not ask, give the specific quantity, quantify the data, range of data in which it can vary. Assume that and solve the question, this thing numerical. Merely solving like a mathematics problem will not fetch you any marks. Now tell me, next class, sir, we don't want any numerical from you. हमें नहीं चाहिए भाई, आपने तो डिमांड किया था. कहते सर अब नहीं चाहिए आपका न्यूमेरिकल. Now see, one numerical turns out so much information from a student that he said, sir, हमें numerical नहीं चाहिए. Reason? He can tell the redundancy only if he has a complete control on the technology. He can identify conceptual blunders in the numerical only when he knows the technology. Otherwise, how does he know what is the redundant conceptual blunder? Suppose say I am using a electrode which is 4 millimeter diameter. So by rule, it is 30 to 40 times the diameter should be the current range. So for maximum current will be 160 amperes, 40 times. So I gave a value of 250 amperes. So when I'm asking constitutive blunder, just one example here. The constitutive blunder is the 4 ohm electrode cannot be operated at 250 amperes. This is a blunder. So he has to then give a range. If it's a 4 mm electrode I'm writing, I'm not giving the exact value. So I have given the freedom to give the range, mention the range and select any value within that range. I'll accept the numerical answer. So this is how the brainstorming and brain teasing is done in the examination process. Set time constants. If questions require deep thinking and analysis, students won't have time to search for every answer blindly. So time constant is always there. Question like yes, midterms are on. The time constant is 1.5 hours. So whatever he has to write, he has to write within that time. And if he knows, he will be able to write. If he knows where to search for, he will be able to write. If he's not prepared for either, he's gone. So this is the beauty of this examination system. Yes.
Consider, for example, we are teaching from a book, and the chapter only we want to testify the knowledge gained by the students after they undertake the class teaching. And the book contains, let us say, 100 pages. Okay, na? Considering the current scenario where the students do not spend even a moment or our time to go through the book, and then you set questions, and then they find out where from they will answer the question. So it will be too difficult, too complex a system that you are proposing. The one important point must be clear to all of us because of your erudite knowledge on this, that this open book source of examination, does it fit into effective teaching, number one, or does it help us in doing effective evaluation? I do not think, for example, that open book examination, when you say it is not providing a means of effective teaching. Effective teaching rests on the capability of a teacher, which includes not only text, reports, many sources of information which teacher naturally studies. And he spends his lot of time to prepare the note, even when that note is not available in the best of the book which is available in the market. That is my feeling, the way that I prepare the notes. Please do not discard certain things which are not properly assessed in such a bold language that creating a notes or supplying the notes is not useful or detrimental. It is not. It is how the student and the teacher will utilize. You see, you cannot just say that I prepare the notes over a length of 1 month, and that cannot go west. The question is, therefore, it is another source of information which the students naturally are desired to utilize. So the point is, therefore, I must say, I am analyzing while you are telling over this, and this internet shows that even today, the whole world, the only two countries they start doing this, it is Finland and Singapore, so far as the open book examination. Question is, I remember the last week, we took a decision in our department. We do not arrest, we do not limit, but it depends on the teacher that if he sees that there is a value for him to testify the knowledge of students, he can have it. So there is nothing like this. But the important point I must naturally say that this practice, because now we are seeing the scenario is such that the students are not spending time even to go books. Now you naturally depend everything based on that books. It's very difficult under the current scenario. Question is, yes, there are certain problems, for example, where you do not have to remember the theory. And normally, a good teacher will never put in the question paper that you mug it. But the concepts, you naturally have to develop. For example, if you do physical exercise, your physical strength increases. You have to do mental exercise, as you say, more and more and more you think critically. Okay, so then you develop the skill. The skill is very important. It is not that I do something, and then I see. These are not necessarily true for every aspect of human life and activities. So the point is to be very clearly told. It is definitely what you are saying is very valuable from the part of the freedom that an individual teacher can always take advantage of using the open book examination. It's not a bar. Now even it is not a bar. But the point is, at least we must be totally aware of, before we jump on this spectacular idea, what are the pros and cons? This is very important.
Sir,
That is my viewpoint.
your point is well taken. I appreciate this. But whatever you have just narrated has already been covered in my lecture, sir. I have already covered your points. So this process is not a one-way traffic. If you are testing a student in open book system, the teacher is again under the pressure of preparing the question paper. And for that, teacher also has to increase the knowledge. Then only he can frame a question paper.
And most appropriate to the current scenario. From the NBA point of view, we are defining, developing the curriculum. Information file for every topic. Okay, the point is that a teacher therefore is bound to cover those topics. Whatever resources you can have, one book or 1,000 books, that depends. Just this. Other parts necessarily have one to structure. Again, we sending other things. We are thinking that.
Sir, our BOS is already taking feedback from the industries, feedback from the scientists. Sir, when I said curricular design, does not mean that every institute has to redesign the curriculum. All those institutes who have the scientifically designed curriculum, that need not act on that.
Why the experts over here? That this, once you said that it is open book examination, that is the first question I asked. This open book examination, does it provide effective teaching? First of all, you give me the answer.
100%.
How? That is not clear. You say open book examination. It is
Okay.
evaluation.
Can I respond?
And then you say it is giving effective teaching. I cannot.
Can I respond?
Yes, this is something
When I gave the
irregular.
example, when I gave the example of fabricating a ship, when I mentioned the number of seas, etc., in that, so do you think that without teaching in the classroom, I can ask this question to the students?
Pardon?
Without teaching students in the classroom,
Yes.
do you think I have a right to ask such
Any
things?
question you can ask.
Only when I'm covering that domain of knowledge.
Not necessarily true. That depends on you.
No, then how will the
You
student
can
respond?
start, suppose, for example, you can start teaching a subject. And sometimes it happens while you ask the question to the student, a student answers in a wrong English. And then you can elaborate 1 hour how to naturally speak correct English. I do not think that is a wrong thing or approach by the teacher to teach half an hour time to give the teacher, because you want to see the totality of the capability that your student must possess and develop. So I do not mind. It is an entire kingdom given to the teacher. He decides what to teach, whether it is.
Sir, this
No,
talk,
point is,
this
it is
talk,
not like that.
this talk is not that I have proposed this key, apply it immediately. I told you right in the beginning.
But
Just
you have
listen.
to answer. You have to answer certain questions which are coming into my mind. For example, it is very good practice for you also that you have proposed something. Why not you give it freedom to the people who are listening you? What are their actually ideas about it? That would be wonderful for us.
So my concept of classroom teaching is not referring to one book only.
No,
It is whatever source is available in the market.
Professor Pandey, if we want to be any discussion forum to be really effective, we must have also a facility, know each other's mind and opinion. Why not you open the house for 5 or 10 minutes and just get the opinion of the people over here regarding the open books examination? That will help many of us. What you are saying, considering you definitely have studied a lot.
Now I'm
The idea, it's a new idea.
I'm little lost now. I do not know what exactly your objection is.
No.
This just to inform all the participants, we will be collecting feedback for each and every sessions. So related to this session also, we are going to collect the feedback. So I think all that will be coming there. So we should allow Professor Pandey to complete.
I only thought that whatever I have in mind, I will express that, share with my faculty colleagues. But critical analysis for this, I think we need one more session in the VC room or somewhere.
Exactly.
I'm available for that 100%.
Then, sir, other than that, sir, this discussion we can take it to the
Classroom teaching has to be holistic teaching.
Any kind of. Just a minute. That is. Now, no, just a minute, right? Professor Pandey, let me enjoy a little privilege being here, a listener to your important talk. My 2 things naturally have to be answered by you before I leave at 11 after this session. Number 1, when you start with a generic name, open book examination, my idea, you can trash my idea that it is something related to conduct of examination and evaluation. So my first question, does whatever you have told about the open book examination, does it constitute an effective method of teaching?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got the answer.
This is what I explained. All through I've been explaining. This is 1:1, sir. It is 1:1.
I got the answer.
This system can survive only in 1:1 relationship.
So it is also a method of good teaching. And secondly, the important point that this also makes the important framework of evaluation by the teacher about the capability and the knowledge that they gain through their teaching method.
That is why one of the point was this brings pressure on the teachers, including me. I'm also a teacher. If you are framing an open book examination question paper, then this brings pressure.
So that means another time you will say about the challenges. That's all right.
It's a challenge.
Thank you very much.
Continue this.
It's a real challenge. It really needs a lot of involvement of a teacher to frame a question paper. Sir, you are my mentor. How can I mind, sir?
Yes, can always one can go. But these questions and because ultimately you have to learn something.
But I'm absolutely sure whatever say points you raised,
Because there are online participants, maybe if they have some questions, then we should be opening to them also.
but
Right.
whatever points you raised, I've already covered that. I think there was somewhere some gaps was there probably, but
It's very interesting. Yeah.
So online participants, if you have any questions or queries, maybe we would like to address those questions. Or after the talk also, we would be asking again. Thank you so much.
Lakshmi Narayan Oja has raised a hand. Do you have to respond right now?
No, we'll take it after the.
So discourage
See.
direct copy pasting, frame questions so
Please,
that
Lakshmi,
answers
please
cannot be
write your
copied
question.
from the textbooks but must be derived, analyzed or synthesized. So open book test does not mean that whatever textbook or the material the student is bringing in the classroom, he cannot do the copy paste. He can only get the assistance in that direction. This is what I have to follow. He have to use the analytical skill of his own to answer the question. So this is a very challenging to increase the knowledge of a person. Memorizing or mugging up is totally discouraged in the system. And any teacher who is forming a question paper for OBE directly from the textbook, it is meaningless. Book is only giving you the direction. Yes, some idea can be taken from here, but he can respond only when he has that concept in his mind. And when you are framing questions in the question paper OBE, you have to ensure that you have covered all those aspects during your lecturing during the semester. Otherwise, it will be injustice to the student. This is all understood. So discourage direct copy pasting. This is what I have just explained. The example included here, instead of list, the advantage of TIG welding, this is direct question. The student has a book, he will write. So this, what is the examination? Until he is forced to brainstorm how to find answer and what to write here, the logic fails. Sir, Gupta ji, one issue is very clear. What you say is correct. But what I want to say, propose here is, if few things have been designed and imposed on the education system, which are not serving the true meaning of what is imposed, don't you think we should analyze that and say, try to change? The purpose of this lecture is that only. We have to look into what is harming our education system, why the system is going down. There's again a pressure on the teacher.
Yeah.
That's again a pressure on the teacher. Okay, how to map the question. So
that's again
there I'm saying this is a very enriching experience for both the students and teacher both. It is not a one-way traffic. So what you say is definitely a challenge, and you have to spend a lot of time in deciding mapping. So instead of list the advantage of TIG welding, ask an underwater welding operation requires precision and minimal heat input. Evaluate whether TIG welding is the best choice and propose modification if necessary. So this is challenging his thought process now. If I simply ask advantage of TIG welding, he will write, open the book, he will write. But when I say evaluate whether TIG welding is the best choice and propose modification if necessary, you have to think, you have to find what is to write here. He should have that knowledge churning in the brain, that what he has studied in the TIG welding in the classroom or through any source that he has been referring. ये फिर freeze हो गया. It's good. Ask her if she allows, I am open.
Okay. Okay. So this first lecture is going to complete, I think, no?
नहीं sir,
टॉपिक
1 बजे तक है ये,
सेम टॉपिक
सेम टॉपिक।
ओके
आप तो मेरे पड़ोसी हो सर, जब मर्जी पूछो, जब जो पूछो, क्या
नहीं,
दिक्कत है?
नहीं एक दो नई चीज आई है सर तो श्योर 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 श्योर
अच्छा, ये फ्रीज हो गया, तब तक क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं इनका। आई एम नॉट एबल टू।
Sir, in most of the cases, the questions require sufficient time. Okay, so for example, I just recall one incident in my earlier career when I joined one company as a GT, and then one person asked that, can you develop some solution for developing a cone? So one method is the graphics, engineering graphics we use. And then he told me that, okay, this method is already available. Can you develop some mathematical solution, simple solution? Then I start thinking and then told that it is not possible in 1 or 2 hours. No, let me give 1 day. And then I went home and then developed that by using the trigonometry and
अब चल रहा है। So I'll come back
So,
to it.
yes,
I'll come back to it.
sure.
Use open-ended questions. Example, design an optimal fixture for holding a complex workpiece in a CNC lathe. Explain why your design consideration and possible limitations. So if you simply ask, design an optimal fixture for holding a complex workpiece in a CNC lathe, he will write something. But when you add, explain your design considerations, then he can't escape. He has to demonstrate his knowledge about the design consideration. Otherwise, if you do not ask this, he will design and go out. Now, this is a term that I use, seeing the performance of the engineering candidates in my branch. I'm not talking about other branches. When I act as an expert for some industries, etc., ask basic questions and see their grade sheet, they say 90%, 95%, 85%, 88%. But the basic knowledge is not there. So where is the mismatch? Is the mismatch is in awarding the grades or how the grades are awarded? Any engineer who is passing out with 95% or 90% marks is expected to have the basic knowledge, fundamental knowledge of the subject. True or false? Honi chahiye. But it is not happening. So it means a person who has a 95%, 90% degree with him, who cannot face the challenges in the industries, who shivers on stepping onto the shop floor, it means is only a paper degree holding engineer, not the professionally qualified engineer. This is a term I use, and I explain this to the students in the classroom also. My students know these two terms very well. What is required here? I feel that you will all agree that we need a professionally qualified engineer. Need a paper degree holding engineer is good for nothing. वो सुसाइड ज़्यादा इसलिए होते हैं. He is under the impression that I am a 90% engineer, 95% engineer, quality engineer, but he is not able to get a job. So he gets frustrated completely. He will never say that I do not know, but I have 90% marks. Who is responsible for this state? One honest response. If this state is there, who is responsible? Very well said. I appreciate your answer. Bold answer. For this state of unemployment, we are responsible. 100%. But we say government is not giving jobs. He promised so many crores of jobs. What is this happening? No politician, no bureaucrat can assure you jobs. Until you have the openings of jobs will not be available. It's not something like, they're like a magician, takes out pigeon, takes out cat, takes out something. You can't take out jobs like this. You got to have the somebody to nurture the industry. Like we do a lot of say fertilizers, etc. we use for improving the crop quality. Industry quality is improved by the fertilizer for the industry, that is the graduate engineer. If the fertilizer is not good, then industry will not give you a good output. So industries are failing because of this. I tell you one simple example. In our own selection of the technicians, BTech pass candidates were there were 2 candidates who were MTech. We asked them to mount a tool on the lathe machine. They could not. Remember, sir? So this is, but person is having 85% marks. वो कहीं का नहीं रहा, 4 साल निकल गया उसके, अब वो पढ़ नहीं सकता दोबारा. Whose responsibility is this? Teacher. अगर उसको नॉलेज नहीं थी तो 95% मार्क्स कैसे आ गए उसके? So this is what is harming the system of our education. That's why students talk only of the grades. They do not talk about the knowledge. They do not talk about any teacher who is trying to teach more or giving holistic approach. They say, यार ये तो बहुत बोर करता है, या we don't need this. We need only grades in the exam. So in most institutions, faculty members lack direct engagement with industries, resulting in a disconnect between academia and real-world applications. A meaningful and industry-relevant curriculum should be designed based on inputs from industries and research labs, while also considering national priorities and global advancements. In our time, there used to be an industrial tour of 15 days time minimum, mandatory requirement. We used to visit a lot of industries during that industrial visit. But slowly, even in IITs, it has been phased out completely. कौन मेहनत करेगा, कौन जाएगा बच्चों के लिए, कौन जिम्मेदारी लेगा, तनख्वाह तो उतनी मिल रही है. So when this thing comes in the mind of a teacher, then nothing good of the nation can happen. Teaching profession is a job of a sacrifice. Until you are ready to sacrifice, you cannot be a teacher. So there one more distinction there. I'll tell you that. I think some people may feel offended on that, but I'll give you the 2 definitions. Like paper degradable engineers and professionally qualified engineers, the term I give you in advance is the teaching employee and the teaching professional. So I will be explaining, I will give you the definition of whom I consider a teaching employee and who is a teaching professional. But please, with folded hands, it is not directed to anybody. It is a philosophy that I have experienced, I have seen. So that you have to appreciate. And introspect, I'm not pinpointing anybody that you are not doing this. It is a philosophy that I have observed over the years. ये फिर फ्रीज हो गया भाई, कहाँ फंसा दिया आपने? अच्छा However, instead of developing coursework that aligns with these needs, many institutions resort to superficial adaptations, merely copying and blending syllabi from top global universities. This approach is primarily driven by the fact that a significant proportion of academicians are disconnected from industry. Many academicians lack industry exposure and engagement, making it difficult for them to bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical applications. So in any engineering university, it used to be in the past, but this should be reintroduced, that all teachers either should have facility to spend some time with the industry during the vacation period officially, or they should be asked to visit more frequently the industries of their area that they are covering in the classroom, such that They know what is required on the shop floor and what is taught in the classroom. There has to be some correlation between the knowledge. But if you do not ever go to the industry and teach technology in the classroom, do you think it's worthwhile? Can it do really justice? It cannot do any justice. But this is what is happening in even top class institutes. No one is ready to venture out. The simple statement. सैलरी तो उतनी मिलनी है, क्यों छुट्टी खराब करें अपनी आप, क्यों थकें जाके आप. So it means the problem lies somewhere else, but it is gone out of proportion now. Lack of confidence in industrial collaboration. Due to minimal interaction with industries, many faculty members feel unequipped to initiate meaningful partnership or real-world projects. Again, it's true. Because of disconnect from the industry, if somebody approaches from industry to solve this problem I'm facing on the shop floor, not many people can venture into this. They will not be able to give solution because they themselves have no idea about the industries. Deficiency in hands-on expertise. A significant number of academicians struggle to operate machines and tools, making it challenging for them to effectively conduct practical sessions or explain design principles to students. Absence of accountability. Institutional leadership is often preoccupied with personal interest, a direct consequence of nepotism and non-meritocratic hiring practices. So some people are smiling, means they at least agree what I have written here. It's a bold statement. People generally do not like bold statements in public, but they follow the same thing. So leadership without vision. It is uncommon to find institutional heads who prioritize faculty development, student success, innovation, or administrative excellence as drivers of progress. आज की डेट के अंदर you'll find most of the heads of the institutions, particularly in the government sector, they are always traveling, going abroad, attending some function here, some function there, but where they have time to have the vision for the institute. Yeah. I think give me another 4 or 5 minutes, then we'll start the second part. Minimal effort toward holistic teaching. Many faculty members artificially separate theory and practicals to inflate their workload while failing to integrate them meaningfully. Toxic academic networking. The prevalence of groupism and favoritism discourages and demoralizes committed faculty members who strive for academic excellence. Misuse of resources for personal gains. Some academicians exploit research scholars and institutional resources to enhance their own credentials rather than advancing student learning. This is very prevalent in today's time, including IITs. I have seen this. Students, PhD scholars are misused for their personal gains. प्राइवेट पर्सनल काम भी करवाते हैं, नॉन एकेडमिक काम भी करवाते हैं और अपना बायोडाटा बढ़ाने के लिए उनको यूज करते हैं एज ए लेबर. This is a very common thing in today's time. The entrance system they have built is as resilient as the web of Darwin's bark spider, difficult to dismantle. Darwin's bark spider's web is stronger than the steel. So strong web it creates, Darwin's bark spider. This system has created a web which is stronger than the Darwin's bark spider. So it's very difficult to break. People react. They try to pounce upon you when you speak the truth. It's very difficult to say that I am lacking something, but this is happening. Superiority complex among faculty. Many academicians develop an inflated sense of self-importance making them unapproachable and resistant to constructive change. This again, industrial visits are wrongly dismissed. Taking students on industrial visits, a crucial element of real-world learning, is falsely perceived as an unproductive exercise. This is, I just, few minutes before I mentioned it. If you really want to produce industry-ready engineers, or engineers who are ready to accept the industrial jobs, we must, as fast as possible, reintroduce the industrial visit lasting for around 15 days at least. And this helps in many ways. A student or university from the north can visit south, south can visit north. So this way you see your country, you meet the people, you know the languages which are used in the country, and you see how the industry works, what is the industrial scenario. Until you have that experience, it is very difficult to just step on from the university to the industry. Finally, an industry engagement is being phased out. Non-visionary institutional heads influenced by disengaged faculty have sidelined critical activities like industrial tours and project-based learning, depriving students of real-world exposure. Here also, like that AICT has introduced SLI, etc. One semester is gone in that. और जो नहीं भी जाते हैं वो भी क्लास नहीं आते हैं, सेइंग कि जिसको पूछो हम तो SLI पे हैं. Okay, so but SLI is not being made accountable in most of the systems. Students go, they bring the certificate, they submit, and they are given the degree. There is no one to follow what kind of training they are taking place. In one semester is a too big a period. It should be assessed, and people not successfully completing the SLI, they should be detained. But it's not happening. So it has become a joke. घर जाके बैठ जाते हैं. Everybody is connected in today's time, particularly the big university like this. Most of the students have big connections. They manage certificates, SLI done, degree awarded. वो भी खुश, हम भी खुश. But nation is crying because those students are good for nothing. भैया कैसे आएगा दोबारा ये? अब वहां से आओगे वापस ये चले जाओगे? 1-2 मिनट और लूंगा बस, उसके बाद बिकॉज नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज ए डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन. Misuse of simulation in technical education. Misuse of simulation in technical education. While simulation is valuable for initial learning, many academicians mistake it for a complete substitute for real-world technology and processes, often using unrealistic parameter settings due to their limited knowledge of actual industry practice. This is a very, very dangerous thing that is happening. This is happening already in many of the IITs. My own experience, when I was heading the central workshop in IIT Delhi, one of the senior administrator, I'll say deputy director, I will not name the person, deputy director came to visit. He said, oh, such a large space in South Delhi is wasted in this workshop. Why can't you do training simulation? Open a byte 50-20 computers and train them how machining is done, how the milling is done, how the welding is done. Why should you waste such a space? You can mint crores of rupees from this. This was a statement from a deputy director of IIT Delhi. This is what I'm presenting here. So do you think? Another thing is simulation. BTP's MTech thesis. is done on, like the statement written here is, often using unrealistic parameter settings due to their limited knowledge. In simulation, whatever parameters they assume or choose, they do not blend. They are just technically not possible many other times. Accidentally अगर हो जाता बात दूसरी है, but technically it's not possible. But M.Tech thesis भी सबमिट हो जाती है, एक ग्रेड ही मिल जाता, सब कुछ हो जाता है. I do not know. This is a ritual that has to be performed. आहुति डाल दी जाती है कि M.Tech thesis हो गई, उससे क्या मिला सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. Neglect of hands-on skill development. Instead of practical skill building in workshops, some faculty members advocate simulation-based demonstration, persuading institutional heads to cut funding for physical training facilities. So this is not taken as an isolated case. This is, I'm talking in general. I've already given you an example of IIT Delhi in this, where I was employed. There, they curtailed funds. You don't need so much of fund in spending, buying a resource or the chemical or anything. You just can do it on computer. Just do simulation. So can we really produce a technologies like this? Who will serve our industries? Who will provide the jobs? More industries, more jobs. If you do not have industries, jobs will not be there. So we are really, when we talk government is providing job, do you think it's a responsibility of the government to give you a job? It means we are running away from our own responsibility. As a teacher, we have to produce engineer who can directly start with confidence in any industry. Why is our system, government system, railways, etc., are so backward? Through engineering service examination, students are right now, many of them are busy mugging for engineering service examination. They will crack it. They say we crack the examination. Pass नहीं करते हैं, crack करते हैं. They crack the examination and they are deputed on the research laboratories. They're related, posted on the manufacturing facility, etc., etc. How will it happen? So this is very wrong way of selecting people. In BHEL, graduate engineer trainees are selected and they are deputed in various units of BHEL. One of the unit is Welding Research Center in Tiruchirappalli. Now is fresh BTech, not having any interest in research. He is posted in R&D. What will happen? So it has become a white elephant. Research is always by choice, not by compulsion. But our government, our people do not. WRI, so rupees is not because a fresh BTech, what do you not having research? Erosion of academic integrity through hiring practices. Most faculty members do not qualify as true teaching professionals, but merely as teaching employees who see their position as nothing more than a stable job. As a result, selection committees continue to perpetuate a cycle of mediocrity, injecting systemic weaknesses into the academics. Once hired, such faculty members sustain this detrimental legacy for decades, further weakening the education system. एक बार, once you are in the system, next 30 years, you have to face that person. And how much poison he will spread in those, spill out in those 30 years, only God knows. एक second. Just 1 or 2 minutes more. The role of such teachers in shaping the knowledge of future engineers is evident, but its impact is deeply concerning. They are consciously responsible for producing engineers with mere paper degrees lacking the practical skills and industry awareness needed for real-world success. In essence, they act as agents of academic deterioration, jeopardizing students' futures. The quality of academic leadership can often be assessed by the culture it fosters. A telling example comes from a farewell. This I will take after the tea break.
So, any questions for this session? We can take it during the break. There would be a small break for 10 minutes. So that means just after 10 minutes, we are getting back again at 11:40. And online participants, we are taking a small break of 10 minutes, and then 11:40, we are starting again. Thank you so much.
You can ask questions related to this session even after the second session.
We are here. So here, Okay, online participants, we are starting, all participants present here. We are starting the session again after the break now. So Professor Sunil Pandey would like to continue with his next session. So you are continuing from the previous one. Okay, so Professor Sunil Pandey is continuing from the previous one, and then he'll take over to the next session during his talk itself. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Are the people still outside? So, welcome back again. The last point before this break, I discovered that in essence, they act as an agent of academic deterioration, jeopardizing student future. The quality of academic leadership can often be assessed by the culture it fosters. A telling example comes from a farewell event for MTech students at a reputed institution. During the gathering, a graduating student approached the professor with a sincere query. This is within a quote's honest reproduction of what happened in my presence in that farewell party for the MTech final year students. So now you know the student institution I'm talking about. A student asked the professor, "Sir, where will I be able to apply the knowledge from your subject? Could you name a few industries where this expertise would help me secure a job?" It's a very normal and very natural question. A passing out student may tend to ask his professor, "Sir, what you have taught me in the classroom, tell me it's important in terms of the industrial application, and which are the industries where I can use this knowledge?" The professor, "My job was to teach you, and I have done that. Where you use this knowledge and which industries you approach, that's your concern, not mine." This is a true reproduction of that conversation. Student and teacher, professor, senior professor at IIT Delhi. Now, where do we go from here? If you tell this in public, they will simply say, "I am mad. I'm talking nonsense." Okay, but this is happening. Reason? The professor never ever visited any industry. He simply passed out from another institution, joined as a faculty member, and never ever visited any industry. So how can he know about the industries and name of the industries? So this is where this is a reply. Such an indifferent response is characteristics of teaching employees, faculty members who see their role as merely delivering lectures with no regard for student success or industry relevance. So I will once again fold it and would like to state that this is not a pointed or directed statement. This is the essence of my 50 years of experience in the teaching industry. And this is what I have honestly experienced and seen. So, and most of the places, अब तो lecture भी सारे नहीं होते हैं. Even in big institutions, they have guts to send their research scholars to engage the class. They don't even check the answer sheets. They ask their MTech or PhD student to check the answer sheets. And in one institution, and the answer sheets are given to the research scholar who was staying in the hostel. Their deal was done. All students who took that examination, they were contacted, yes, if you want to add something in your answer sheet, this is the rate. So this is how some faculty members were minting money. हॉस्टल में आंसर शीट भेज दीजिए आप, फिर बच्चों को बोलिए कौन कौन नंबर बढ़ाना चाहता है, उसके लिए लिखना पड़ेगा. लिखने के लिए दिस इज रेट, यू हैव टू पे सो मच ऑफ ₹1000 फॉर दिस, आई विल अलाउ यू दिस बिकॉज आंसर शीट्स आर इन माय कंट्रोल राइट नाउ. सो ऐसे भी चक्कर चलते हैं. तो इंडियंस आर रियली क्राफ्टी पीपल. वो पानी से ही पैसा कमा लेंगे, कुछ भी कर लेंगे. बट दिस इज द रियल स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स. Raid was conducted, the teacher was suspended, but nothing happened. Such teacher should have been terminated, but termination government ने नहीं होने दिया. तो क्या करो? What is the message given by the government to the people? कि these things will increase. You do not try to correct. So this is again a reality. तो उसके बाद एक केस नाम बता देता हूँ मैं. DTU का केस है एक. There was a teacher. He used to fail lot of students. And जब स्टूडेंट फेल होंगे, naturally they approach the teacher. Then teacher will ask, he apply for rechecking, but I will charge so much for passing you. So this is another practice of making money from academic system. और बहुत कुछ इतना है कि बोलने में मुझे शर्म भी महसूस होती है. So please excuse me. 2 examples are good enough to say what is happening. It is this mindset that continues to erode the foundation of technical education and undermine the employability of graduates. When they know nothing, they cannot be employed. Even if they have 95% grade card with them, no mercy because of that. Because industry means business. It's not a question of कि blood relation है तो कुछ भी है तो चलेगा. But anyway. Now this is something I request in advance. This is the experience based on which I have stated this comparison. This is not pointed to any colleague of mine or say anybody else in the country, but it is only for reading and self-introspection. यार ये इसको यहाँ से हटा दो, ये हटाओ यहाँ से, इसे कोने में ले जाओ. ये काला जो आ रहा है, पर मुझे तो तंग कर रहा है. इसको बुला लो, अभी चला गया. So this is a definition and comparison between whom I call a teaching employee and who is a teaching professional or guru. As our Gurukul Parampara, we used to call our teachers as gurus. In our school time, our teacher known as guru only. But today, we have another category of teachers known as teaching employee. There is a severe scarcity of teaching professionals and abundance of teaching employees. Defining teaching professional and teaching employee. A teaching professional is someone for whom teaching is not just a profession but a dharma and passion. They are deeply invested in the intellectual and career growth of their students Their goal is not merely to deliver lectures, but to ignite curiosity, foster critical thinking, and shape future leaders. They continuously update their knowledge, innovate in their teaching methods, and go beyond textbooks to mentor and inspire students. These courses, NPTEL lectures and whatnot, students say very clearly, I ask them, why don't you come to the classroom? Why are you not coming? Why is the attendance so poor? This is, sir, NPTEL lectures are available. Same thing is done by a teacher also. Why should I come? मैं relax करके लेट के पढ़ लेता हूँ. I know what questions are going to be there. So why should I bother? So until you challenge a student, कि whatever is taught by a faculty member in the classroom will not be easily available in the textbook, or the notes that teacher you are not copying down, answer will not be straight. So in IT there was a situation where some students, late risers, they used to come straight to the class. 8 o'clock class I used to take in IIT. They used to come straight कि ये लेक्चर मिस हो गया तो मैं मारा जाऊंगा, क्योंकि किताब में तो मिलेगा नहीं, नोट्स में लिखवाता नहीं, तो यू हैव टू स्ट्रगल. So attendance automatically becomes quite big if you have to pass the exam. So it is a challenge that you throw to a student in the classroom for attracting a student. If we download the same NPTEL lecture, teach the same lecture in the classroom, so what is the different what the student is not able to download? Why should he come? And today's time, with so much of internet facility and chat GPT, there is practically no need of a teacher if we are not, say, aligning ourselves according to the need. Teacher is redundant today. You can download any PPT from the net on any subject, any topic. Ask chat GPT to give you a complete lecture, everything. Question paper also chat GPT is giving you. So where is the need for a teacher in today's time? But in honest ways, teacher or the guru is still having a place. Chat GPT cannot replace a guru, but Chat GPT can replace 100% a teaching professional, teaching employee, not teaching professional. So it's all the more important that we should try and follow the concept of teaching professional or guru. Now, who is a teaching employee? A teaching employee is someone who views their faculty position solely as a job, a means of livelihood rather than a responsibility toward student development. They lack engagement in the learning process and do not make efforts to enhance their teaching methods or contribute meaningfully to students' academic and professional growth. Like that MTech conversation which I just shown is the result of this kind of people only, who continue to use the same notes. Abhi to now you have the PPT facility. In our time it used to be the paper written notes. कागज पीला पड़ गया है, क्रैक कर रहा है, सर वही चल रहा है, ईयर आफ्टर ईयर सेम थिंग इज टॉट. So there is no modification, there is no addition in the technology given in the classroom. So why will a student come to your classroom? Tell me. The student is getting much more than from the internet today. Mere presence in classroom without intellectual stimulation or guidance is not true teaching. The impact, like the termites, compromise the structural integrity of a building, and if left unchecked, their destructive impact only escalates. Similarly, the growing presence of teaching employees is undermining the nation's academic foundation, with their increasing numbers directly fueling educational decline. At least this you all agree that the education is on the decline. True or false? So I'm giving those reasons why it's declining. So once we know the reasons, we can take the corrective action. We can prescribe the medicine for this. But until we are able to isolate the bimari or disease, we cannot treat. So this is where it is a very major reason for the decline of education in the country. A key reason behind such substandard hiring is the ineffectiveness of selection committees, often dominated by the very teaching employees who perpetuate this cycle of mediocrity. आज मैं उस पोजीशन में हूँ, कल को मेरे जूनियर आ जाएंगे, कल को उनके जूनियर आ जाएंगे, but the same mediocrity will continue or even go worse. So if you do not select a person who is a committed teacher, you cannot do justice with the teaching profession. You are only hiring a teaching employees, then nepotism, then plutocracy. Everything has a big role in this present society. Nepotism, you all know. Plutocracy also you all know. So how can we beat this nepotism and plutocracy in the appointment or selection of gurus? If these things are playing their part, then we are only hiring the teaching employee. A decisive solution lies in establishing a distinguished pool of teaching professionals renowned for their intellectual depth and innovative capabilities. This elite group should be entrusted with the responsibility of forming competent selection committees, ensuring that future educators uphold the highest standards of teaching and mentorship. Everybody, because of the position, cannot be a selection committee member. But in our country, these selection committees are found by the ministries in the government system. And ministry only knows the names of those people who frequent their offices regularly, जैसे in चमचागिरी जिसको बोला जाता है. So they will not know that who can do the justice. They will only keep that person in the selection committee who can be dictated by those people. So this is the reality today. The distinction between these two classes has been discussed and tabulated. Do you permit me to show this distinction or comparison between teaching employee and teaching professional? Say boldly yes or no. But one request, do not feel bad because this is not directed to anybody personally. This is the overall experience. I have tabulated this. Teaching professionals, that is guru, and teaching employees. I have around 17 points I could write based on my experience. Truly fit to teach, they view teaching and student career development as their dharma and passion. Unfit to teach, they lack true competence but falsely believe they are effective educators. Teaching and student career development are never a priority. Just consider that example I gave you. Okay, which industry I am going to get a job where I am going to use this knowledge. So that person fits into this definition of teaching employee. I'm not fitting him here, but the definition is fitting him here. Point number 2, selection based on merit, hired for their intellectual expertise in their field, research aptitude, and ability to foster the holistic development of students. Hired through nepotism and favoritism, selection is based on extraneous factors with superficial interviews that really assess technical aptitude. Nepotism, you all know what nepotism is. भाई भतीजावाद हिंदी में बोलते हैं. Plutocracy, then other considerations. That is, you place a weak person who is always under your control. भीष्म पितामह का कॉन्सेप्ट था ना, खुद गद्दी पे नहीं बैठूंगा पर राज मैं ही चलाऊंगा. ठीक है, तो फॉर दैट कीप ए वीक पर्सन इन फ्रंट. जनता तुम्हें जीने नहीं देगी, मैं मरने नहीं दूंगा. दैट इज द फिलॉसफी ऑफ दैट भीष्म पितामह. So that is how the people are selected today. कि जो हम कहेंगे वो करोगे तो आपको सिलेक्शन करते हैं. उनको टीचिंग से मतलब नहीं है. They have no business with the teaching. They know only कि मैं कैसे आगे बढ़ूंगा. Adopt a holistic approach, integrate knowledge, skills and ethical values into teaching. So classroom teaching for any teaching professional is not only teaching technical content. The character building, ethics, and the culture is also a part of a teacher. And if we do not do this, then we are only converting ourselves into a teaching employee. So कहते हैं ना मास्टर जी ने कुछ सिखाया नहीं क्लास के अंदर. आज तो लोग भूल गए हैं. हमारे टाइम में कुछ बात गलत करते थे हम तो यही पूछते थे मास्टर जी कुछ नहीं सिखाया क्या. आज के टाइम में वो पूछने वाला मास्टर ही नहीं है जो पूछेंगे ऐसा. So but we have to revive this concept. Ethics, character building, morality is the duty of a teacher. I'll say that at least 5 minutes should spend in every class on this ethics and morality. It's very important. Encourage deep learning, apply the how and why principle to every concept they teach. If the student do not ask because they are too junior and not having that much of intellectual power, it's the duty of a teacher in the classroom to tell them why are they here in the classroom. And then whatever you start teaching, you have to give a brief background. Okay, why is this subject, this topic taught to you? How will it help you? If we do not give this idea in the beginning, then a student is only trying to mug up whatever you are spilling in the classroom. So do not engage in deep learning, avoid the how and why approach, leading to shallow understanding among students. One, you can take it as a joke only. One person, true teaching employee, students ask questions. One student asked him, "Sir, please explain." Good question. Next. So this is another way of handling the questions from the students in the classroom. Now, what will the student do? He simply say, "Thank you, sir." Other student, this is a very good question. Next. So this is another way. So such people are teaching employees only. Mentors, not just teachers, guide students with the care and commitment of a parent. That is, I tell my students, even today, that as a teacher, you have to succeed honestly. If you want to be honest, 100%, then every student, you should see the face of your son or a daughter. हर बच्चे में आपको अपने हर स्टूडेंट के अंदर अपने बच्चे की शक्ल दिखनी चाहिए आपको. तभी आप उसे अन्याय नहीं करोगे, नहीं तो बेईमानी करके तनख्वाह लिए घर जाओगे आप. अगर आपको लगता है कि यू आर टीचिंग योर ओन सन और डॉटर, you will be honest only in that condition. So first thing is you have to decide you have to enter the classroom कि आप अपने बच्चे को पढ़ाने जा रहे हैं. You agree with me? So this is what should be the philosophy of a teaching professional. Teaching employee will never do this. उसको नहीं फर्क पड़ता कि बच्चा बेटी क्या है, कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता है. Mentors, not just teachers, guide students with okay, this is done. Indifferent and unresponsive, insensitive to student needs and uninterested in their academic and career growth. Link learning to real world opportunities. Discuss the startup and employment potential of every topic covered. So every subject which we teach during a semester, it has number of chapters, and each chapter we should be able to explain or advise the students that this chapter offers you opportunity for this kind of startup, this kind of business, this kind of industry. You can be entrepreneur, you can have a startup, and for each topic you must discuss these avenues with the students. Then only you will be able to encourage how to have more startups and more entrepreneurships. Because I ask my students, what is good? Be the employee or an employer? It should be the employer. Why should I be the employer of somebody? I should be able to employ others. So this will happen only when you have a startup or when you have an entrepreneurship set up right in the beginning. you'll be able to offer jobs, maybe to your own colleagues also. But to be in this position, you have to plan startups or entrepreneurship. So then only ट्रेनिंग प्लेसमेंट डिपार्टमेंट रिडंडेंट तभी हो पाएगा. वो नौकर ढूंढ के देता ना कंपनियों के लिए. बट इफ यू गो फॉर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप और स्टार्टअप, it gives you respect and you can plan many things. Point 7, engage students effectively, ensure active participation for the required number of hours in semester. Disengaged in the classroom, more focused on avoiding effort than on meaningful student engagement. Hands-on involvement accompany students to the laboratory, explaining the philosophy behind practical applications. Neglect practical learning. Do not accompany a student to the laboratories, leaving all responsibility to technicians. Their own lack of technical expertise prevents effective guidance. This teaching employee concept has been licensed by IIT Delhi on the recommendation of the faculty members in IIT Delhi. They hired BTech engineers to run the practicals for the students, and the reason given was we are international standard scientists. We are international scientists. We do not have time to waste in the laboratory. For this, we need teaching assistant or laboratory assistant. So hundreds of such people were hired. So teachers simply go to the classroom. They enjoy their life. Practicals are done by the technicians only in IIT. So legalized. This thing has been legalized. Instead of somebody asking a director, asking them what is nonsense you're talking, you're teaching a subject, you to teach the practical also. Machine tool, their construction, everything should be taught by the teacher. But no, they're very busy. बहुत नोबेल प्राइज हर साल मिलते हैं हमको इसी वजह से. हम पब्लिक में नहीं खर्च करते हैं उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए. This is happening. That's why by name I'm telling you IIT Delhi. I don't know about other colleges, but IIT Delhi is doing it. Teacher, guru is a national asset, play a pivotal role in shaping nation's intellectual and technological future. Teaching employee a liability to the nation, contribute to the decline of education standards and innovation. You were saying something that it is declining. So this is written here. There has to be reason for decline. I'm explaining it with clear examples. Creators of responsible citizens nurture technically proficient professionals with strong ethics and societal values. Producers of paper degree holders, their teaching results in engineers without real skills and citizens with self-serving attitudes, a failure that is not the student's fault. It's not the student's fault. पर हम दिन रात बर्बाद कर रहे हैं अपने यूथ को, और गाली पड़ती है सिस्टम को, गवर्नमेंट को, पेरेंट्स को. बट हम तो अपना काम कर रहे हैं जी, हम करते जाएंगे. So this is what is happening. मतलब I am sure that you all agree with this. Integrated teaching approach handle both theory and practicals to ensure comprehensive subject understanding. Disjointed approach to teaching treat theory and practicals as separate entities, assigning them to different teachers, thereby eliminating integrated learning. Their impact is far-reaching. Their knowledge and values resonate in society beyond the classroom. No lasting impact, ignored and unappreciated, their teaching leaves no meaningful imprint on students or society. तो एक सर्टिफिकेट तो टीचर का यही है कि टीचर 10-20 साल के बाद भी याद रखे, यार ही वॉज माई टीचर, है ना. कोई ऐसा ना कहे कि मैं उसको ढूंढ रहा हूँ. ऐसे भी लगता है ना, वो मिल जाए तो पूछूं जरा. पर जो याद रखेगी उसने, अरे यार, he was a real teacher. So this is what you should be earning. स्टूडेंट 20 साल के बाद 50 साल के बाद बोले कि यस, आई एम लकी दैट ही टॉट मी और शी टॉट मी. Application based assessments design brainstorming driven questions papers that test understanding rather than rote memorization. Encourage rote memorization, assign straightforward or recycled questions, reducing exams to a mugging exercise rather than a test of understanding. ऐसे भी देखे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स को पता होता है कि इस साल कौन सी ईयर का एग्जाम पेपर रिपीट होगा. मतलब बच्चों को पहले पता होता है, वो साइकिल इतना वेल इस्टेब्लिश हो चुका है कि कुछ लोग तो इतने हिम्मत वाले होते हैं कि पिछले साल का पेपर ही फिर रिपीट कर देते हैं कि दोबारा क्वेश्चन बनाना ना पड़े. 2 सेट भी क्यों बनाओगे, ऑटोनॉमी है, कौन पूछने वाला है. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. सो ये रियल प्रैक्टिकल है. इसने पूछा सर उस सब्जेक्ट की कोई चिंता नहीं है, वो तो वो वाला पेपर आएगा ना, कर लो क्या करना. एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड असेसमेंट, दिस इज डन. Fearless educators confidently conduct open book tests, trusting their teaching and students' analytical abilities. Unfit for open book tests, their superficial teaching makes conceptual assessments meaningless. Invigilation becomes redundant in an environment of conceptual assessments. Supervision is unnecessary. Require strict invigilation. Their exams invite malpractice, making invigilation a necessity. जो आज के टाइम में चल रहा है, इन्वेस्टिंग ड्यूटी होती है, राउंड लगाते हैं, 3 घंटे घूमते रहते हैं, जेबों में हाथ डालते हैं, रिस्किंग करते हैं कहीं कुछ लेके तो नहीं आए हो. तो ऐसी स्थिति क्यों आने देते हो? वाई शुड दिस सिचुएशन अराइज? गो बियॉन्ड एकेडमिक्स, डेडिकेट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम टू इंस्टिलिंग moral values, social responsibility and national duty in students. Irresponsible and self-centered feel no duty toward students but expect high quality education for their own children from dedicated teachers. जो बात बता रहा था कि हर बच्चे में हर स्टूडेंट अपने बच्चे की शक्ल दिखनी चाहिए, पर जो टीचिंग एम्प्लॉयज हैं जो कहते हैं कि कहाँ नौकरी लगेगी, किस इंडस्ट्री में जाओगे, मुझे कुछ, ये तुम्हारे सिर दर्द है, मेरा नहीं है. पर अपना बच्चा स्कूल जाएगा तो उसको ऑनेस्ट एजुकेशन मिलनी चाहिए और अच्छे टीचर्स मिलने चाहिए. ये तो नॉर्मल एक्सपेक्टेशन, हाथ में ये एक्सपेक्ट करता है कि ये होना चाहिए, पर व्हाट इज रियली हैपनिंग? However, understanding the reasons behind the abundance of teaching employees instead of gurus is equally important. Now, this is very important. I'm not saying that teaching employees are by choice. The situation has made them or converted them into teaching employees. What are the reasons they have contributed to this? One of the primary culprits is the flawed career progression formula devised by government agencies, which incentivizes faculty members to manipulate their CV rather than focus on genuine academic contributions. This formula is an unrealistic blend of the following measured components. Publications, इसको भी क्वांटिफाई करो. अगर आपके एक पब्लिकेशन से इफ यू आर एबल टू डेवलप अ हाइड्रोजन बॉम्ब, उसकी कोई इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं है क्योंकि आपका पेपर तो एक ही है. कचड़ा इकट्ठा कर लो आप 10 पेज का, ऑफ नो वैल्यू एट ऑल. चैट जीपीटी जिंदाबाद की डेट के अंदर आप कोई पेपर निकाल लीजिए, ठीक है. सो हम नंबर ऑफ पब्लिकेशन गिनते हैं, तुम्हारे 5 नहीं है, तुम्हारे 2 नहीं है. अरे भाई बाबा, गो टू द क्वालिटी ऑफ पब्लिकेशन, सी द एकेडमिक वैल्यू ऑफ अ पर्सन. डू यू थिंक द नंबर ऑफ पब्लिकेशन एस्टैब्लिश दिस क्वालिटी? नो. पर इसलिए क्या होता, आपने बता दिया 5 चाहिए तो 5 तो कर ही लूंगा मैं, जो मर्जी कर लो. अगर इफ देयर इज नो कंडीशन ऑफ नंबर ऑफ पब्लिकेशंस, then I am sure that all the teachers across the country will dedicate themselves to honest research because they have no pressure कि I have to have a number 5 or 10 or whatever is mentioned in the criteria. So this is the, in fact, government has ensured. Okay, let us see how the quality improves. Number of PhDs supervised. Institutional heads often engaged in non-academic pursuits pressure faculty to mass produce PhDs, sometimes aiming for unrealistic targets like 1,000 PhDs per year, a goal that is neither practical nor meaningful. This happened in one of the topmost institutions in the country. It was notified, circulated to the faculty members. Please ensure that we are able to produce 1,000 PhDs in 1 year. क्योंकि आलू प्याज की दुकान है, क्या खरीद के ले आओगे, जो जितनी मर्जी लानी है ले आओ. But when the head of the institution is issuing this kind of circulars, then where do we go? इसके ऊपर खूब मुसीबत आई हुई आजकल. पीएचडी होनी चाहिए, पीएचडी स्टूडेंट नहीं मिलते हैं, किसी के पास स्कॉलर नहीं है, फिर कोटा सिस्टम शुरू हो जाता है. एक इंस्टीट्यूशन, ज़्यादा इंस्टीट्यूशन के अंदर जैसे कोटा सिस्टम, ऑल राइट, यू हैव वन, नेक्स्ट विल गिवन टू हिम. अरे बाबा, ही वांट्स टू डू पीएचडी इन स्मार्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, सम टॉपिक इन स्मार्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. नहीं नहीं, तुम्हें थर्मोडायनेमिक्स के टीचर का कोई पीएचडी नहीं है, तुम उसके पास जाओ, उसका बायोडाटा बनाना है, तुम्हारा नहीं बनाना है. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. पीएचडी किसी टॉपिक पे करनी है, पर द पर्सन इज फोर्स्ड टू ज्वाइन ए स्ट्रीम वेयर ही इज जस्ट नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. पर क्यों जाना उसको? उस टीचर का प्रमोशन नहीं होगा, नहीं तो तुम नहीं जाओगे, तो उसके पीएचडी नहीं बनेगी. सो अभी क्या हो रहा है? पीएचडी की वैल्यू खत्म हो गई है, क्योंकि सरकार के पीएचडी होना जरूरी है नौकरी के लिए. तब स्टूडेंट ने भी कसम खा ली कि जहर के घूंट पी लिया है, कोई बात नहीं, डिग्री तो लेनी है, जिस मर्जी टॉपिक पे कराओ, जो मर्जी कराओ, मुझे तो डिग्री चाहिए. अब जिस जोश के साथ काम करने आया था वो तो खत्म हो गया. हैं सर, देखते ही जाइए, स्किल डेवलपमेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज खुल रही हैं देश के अंदर, तो आईटीआई का बंद कर दोगे? मतलब यूनिवर्सिटी से आप फाइलिंग की मशीनिस्ट की डिग्री दिलवाओगे आप, तो आईटीआई वाले कहाँ जाएंगे? क्या यूनिवर्सिटी के हैंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस की यूनिवर्सिटी खोलोगे आप? खुल रही हैं इस देश के अंदर, बहुत खुली हुई है. और क्या हो रहा, आप ये भी जाके देख लीजिए एक बार. हमारे बड़ौदा में भी एक बहुत बड़ा इंस्टीट्यूट खुला हुआ है. बहुत सारे लोग जानते हैं बड़ौदा में किसी की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. अहमदाबाद है, बड़ौदा, अहमदाबाद. चलो ठीक है, बाद में बात करेंगे. टीचिंग लोड, क्रेडिट्स पर वीक. Faculty members in many institutions manipulate workloads by splitting practical components into a separate subjects, allowing a single course to count as 2 in their records. पहले practicals, they used to be an integral part of a subject. Then smartly, to show that I'm teaching 2 subjects or sharing, well, taking load of 2 subjects, practical is made a separate number, theory is given a separate number, and the same teacher is teaching both, but claiming that I am handling 2 subjects per semester. This is happening. And if you take the curricula of the 70s and up to 80s, you will find that all practicals used to be an integral part of the subject only. जो टीचर पढ़ा रहा वही तो प्रैक्टिकल कराएगा. और अभी क्या फॉर्मुलेटी है, बच्चा किसी का पाला कोई और. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. माँ बाप अवेलेबल हैं पर किसी और से पलवाते हैं. So then number of externally funded projects exceeding rupees 10 lakhs. ये भी कंडीशन सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया में लगा रखी है. 10 लाख का बजट होना जरूरी है. किसी ने सोचा कि किन हालातों में होगा, कैसे होगा, क्यों होगा, या जिनके पास ये सारा डाटा पूरा वो फिट है प्रोफेसर बनने के लिए या एसोसिएट बनने के लिए. So that is how government is licensing the teaching employees only. Beg, borrow, steal, complete the criteria and get promoted. Participation in conferences and seminars often more for CV enhancement than actual knowledge exchange. ये भी आजकल पीएचडी स्टूडेंट की मुसीबत आई हुई है. टीचर को अपना सीवी बनवाना है, तो वो पेपर पब्लिश करवाता है, बच्चे से काम करवाता है जो उससे मतलब का नहीं है, और उसको अपना सीवी बनाना है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट पूछे कि तुमने कितने पब्लिकेशन किए हैं, तुम्हारे कितने कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करी है आपने, कितने एफडीपीज कराए आपने, इन सब से क्या होता है? टीचिंग एनहांस होती है क्या? दिस इज हाउ द रूल्स आर मेड. Attendance or organization of short-term courses which frequently lack depth or impact, number of years spent in particular position emphasizing tenure over merit or innovation. ये क्लरिकल जॉब होता है क्या साइंटिस्ट का या प्रोफेसर का या फैकल्टी का? इफ यू आर ब्रिलियंट, why should you be asked to wait for 6 years minimum in that particular position? Why can't it be merit based? Like ISC Bangalore used to do this. There is no selection board, etc., anything. You are hired, start working, and when you think that you are fit to be a associate professor, you make your file, submit to the director, and request assessment. Then assessment done by sending it to the various experts throughout the world. And based on their recommendation on the biodata, it is compiled, yes, he is fit to be promoted. That a promotion is done. But अभी क्या होता है? अभी ये कोई असेसमेंट नहीं होती है, पेपर की क्वालिटी क्या है, पेपर में क्या लिखा है, डाटा कहाँ से आया, 4-4, 10-10 नाम के पब्लिकेशन आज की डेट में हो रहे हैं. कैसे हो सकता है ये? But these are legalized by the government. It's just not possible. But it is going on. So, and several other superficial metrics that fail to assess teaching quality, student engagement or real industry impact. और बहुत सारी चीजें इसमें ऐड कर लीजिए आप. Final thought. The future of education hinges on our ability to nurture true teaching professionals, mentors who inspire deep understanding, critical thinking, and industry relevance. Open book examinations serve as a powerful tool in this transformation, shifting the focus from rote memorization to analytical problem solving. By fostering a culture of conceptual clarity, application-based learning, and intellectual curiosity, we can bridge the gap between academia and industry, ensuring that students graduate not just with degrees, but with skills, confidence, and a lifelong learning mindset. 95% होना जरूरी नहीं है, ये confidence, mindset और skills होना जरूरी है. The challenge before us: do we continue producing degree-holding individuals, or do we create capable professionals and responsible citizens? The answer lies in embracing innovative teaching, rigorous evaluation, and a commitment to true education. The choice is ours. We will be teaching professionals or just teaching employees. ये हमारी choice है. Thank you very much. Any question? Feel free to ask any question. आप एक और ऐड कर लीजिए, 4 पूछ लीजिए. वैसे 2-3 या 5 हो जाते हैं. चलिए पूछिए.
Sir, regarding the open book examination, I think whatever the points you have suggested even in the teaching professionals and the open book examination, those are very much similar. What NBA nowadays, what are the like objectives are listed in under NBA? This accreditation, they have this Bloom taxonomy, and there are like later parts of the Bloom taxonomy, analyze, synthesize, and then evaluate. These like really align with the whatever like methodologies you have proposed to be there. So like things are there in the written form in the guidelines. So the having the similar guidelines already there, the open book examination can be conducted, right?
Yes, it can be conducted.
So one,
This university I'm doing it for the last 3 years.
so the challenge comes to, for example, from the teacher's perspective, if we examine any students from the thing and analyze and then giving opinion based answers, so evaluation becomes very challenging.
I got your point. Continue first, I'll respond then.
So the that is what is one of my questions, that how do we handle the evaluation part? Because opinion based evaluation will, it will be differ from student to student. Their
Correct. And
what
then
is the caliber they have
then
in
students
understanding.
contact you, sir, मैम आपने मुझे कम नंबर दिया, उसको ज़्यादा नंबर दे दिया. ये कंप्लेंट भी तो आती है ना कि मैंने इतना लिखा था, आपने फिर भी नंबर नहीं दिए.
Yeah,
ठीक है?
that is possible when we
So
say
if
opinion based.
your point, इसने मुझे भी बहुत साल पहले सताया था. आई विल से 28 साल पहले सताया था इसने मुझे. तब मैंने बहुत सोचा था इसका सोल्यूशन क्या निकल सकता है कि zero complaint and zero grievance system of evaluation. So I could devise a system which I very clearly say it's a zero complaint, no grievance system of evaluation. क्वेश्चन पेपर ऐसा बनता है जिसके अंदर कोई स्टूडेंट कभी सपने भी नहीं सोच सकता कि आपने किसी को आधा नंबर ज़्यादा दिया उसके ऊपर या किसी को आधा नंबर कम दिया. उसके लिए आई नीड अनदर 3 hours to explain that concept of zero complaint and zero grievance system evaluation. You give me platform, I will explain the system.
Okay, sir. Another question was like again similar, like answers when student
And आपके
writes.
ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी की बात थी या एनबीए की बात थी. जब एनबीए जब तक इंडिया ने वाशिंगटन अकॉर्ड साइन नहीं किया था तब तक एजुकेशन नहीं होती थी. बल्कि आईआईटीज ने जो नाम कमाया है वो 80s तक ही नाम कमाया है. जब से ये सब आना शुरू हो गया, व्हाट इज द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ आईआईटीज इवन टुडे? चेक इट, क्वांटिटेटिवली चेक करके देखिए आप कि अब एटम बम क्या एनबीए के बाद बना है या स्पेस फ्लाइट एनबीए के बाद हुई है या उससे पहले इंडिया में पढ़ाते नहीं थे या वर्ल्ड में पढ़ाते नहीं थे. ये तो एक मकड़ी का जाल है जिसके अंदर वो फेंकते हैं और हम फंस जाते हैं. Why did India sign Washington Accord? My question is this. कितना पेपर, कितना एफर्ट, कितने करोड़ों रुपए इसमें खर्च होता है हर साल एनबीए के विजिट्स के अंदर. और किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट का एनबीए करने के लिए प्रोफेशनल कंपनी अवेलेबल है, आपको एनबीए एक्रेडिटेशन करा के जाती हैं. इससे मिल क्या रहा है आपको? रियलिटी में क्या मिल रहा है? जब तक हम अंदर से ईमानदार नहीं होंगे, कोई रूल कागज के ऊपर जो लिखा हुआ आपको कुछ नहीं कर सकता. एवरीवन नोज दिस वेरी वेल. कहने में घबराते हैं, मैं सच करने में डरता नहीं हूँ कभी. अभी तो 2 ही पूछा आपने, 3 क्वेश्चन बोला था.
Sir, this one again related to the opinion based answers written by students, like they may differ. So like
हाँ,
this,
मैं समझ गया आपका क्वेश्चन. मैं आपको सिर्फ ये बता रहा हूँ, इफ नॉट एट द इंस्टीट्यूट लेवल, मे बी आई विल रिक्वेस्ट HOD to organize one small lecture session, at least to my own faculty colleagues in the department. I can explain this procedure of zero complaint and no grievance system of evaluation and paper setting accordingly. पेपर भी वैसे सेट करना पड़ता है कि किसी को कंप्लेंट नहीं आनी चाहिए. सर, इट्स ए वेरी टीडियस प्रोसीजर, इट्स ए ह्यूज प्रेशर ऑन टीचर इटसेल्फ. बट एक बार करना शुरू कर देंगे तो फिर रूटीन हो जाता है ये. सर, एक मौका दे दीजिएगा मुझे. थैंक यू. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
okay, sir. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू.
This question. What will be the complication if you have large class size in the case of your OBE?
अगर आप मेरा प्रोसीजर जान लेंगे कि जीरो कंप्लेंट नो ग्रीवेंस सिस्टम क्या है, आप
No, zero complaint is another
मुझे
thing.
कहीं लंच करना देने करना ले जाओगे आप.
Naturally, sure, sir.
ठीक है. इतना बढ़िया सिस्टम है कि आपको लार्ज क्लास क्या ह्यूज क्लास भी हो तो आपको लगेगा यार ये मुझे अभी तक कोई नहीं पता था.
Naturally.
तो आपकी समस्याएं खत्म कर दूंगा, एक बार मौका दे दीजिए बोलने का. सॉल्यूशन है मेरे पास 100%.
Sir, I had few questions, but I have already taken some of them offline or then again we'll take. I just want to have your opinion for a generic type of question, which I have already asked yesterday, but I couldn't get the satisfied answer. In our core branches, the students have the dilemma okay, whether to go into the core or the software line. So due to peer pressure, parents pressure and other things, some of them chooses to that software and other field. So their natural motivation would be lesser as compared to the student who are having that aim or target for making that as a career path. So for those students, whether we have adopted the best practices, including your OBE and everything, which have the best practices, how to motivate those students who are having, it's just like a, यदि मैं उपमा दूं तो कि one person has a he has married to a particular person and then he loves somebody else ना, तो यू कैन थिंक एक धोबी का कुत्ता की कैसी हालत होती है ना.
मैं कैसे जी बता सकता हूँ आपको ये तो जो कर रहा है वही बताएगा.
बट यू आर ए मेंटर एंड आई थिंक यू आर द बेस्ट पर्सन.
इसकी मेंटरशिप नहीं करता हूँ.
दिस इज जस्ट एग्जांपल कि मतलब हाउ टू हैंडल दैट सिचुएशन, क्योंकि वो शुरू से ही ऐसा मतलब जो है ना उसके दिमाग में ये बैठ गया है.
आई विल रिक्वेस्ट यू टू गो थ्रू द कंपैरिजन chart are given for professional teacher and a teaching employee. Answer to a question lies there. It is already in the printed form. Before that also told you very clearly that for not getting job or employment, who is responsible? And I'm glad many of you said ki teacher is responsible. So until teacher accompanies the student to a work or laboratory or the workshop, how will you generate an interest of a student into that profession? We are not teaching mechanical engineering in true sense. We are teaching mechanical engineering from the curricular point of view only. So until we motivate a student from that angle, how do we expect a student to be in a core branch? When everyone knows that mechanical engineering is the mother branch of all branches. It is evergreen branch. But why is the student not getting attracted? Reason? Teachers. Accept it very, very boldly. We have to accept it. सर आप वो सवाल पूछ रहे हैं कि मुर्गी पहले आई अंडा पहले आया. पैकेज की जहाँ तक बात है, when you have failed to nurture industry but not providing the technically qualified engineers to nurture that industry, how do you think that owner of the company will be able to make more profit to pay more salary? When survival of the factory owner itself is at stake, how can he offer you a big salary? Today salaries are on the increase because manufacturing with the help of foreign companies, that make in India concept. उसके ऊपर अलग लेक्चर देने की बात है. पर जब तक आप हेल्दी इंडस्ट्री नहीं रखोगे, आपको हेल्दी सैलरी कौन देगा? सॉफ्टवेयर के अंदर पैसा इसलिए मिल रहा था अभी तक क्योंकि एक तो लोग इनिशियली कम थे. अब हर साल लैक्स के हिसाब से आते हैं पूरी दुनिया से, तो सैलरी तो कमिंग डाउन. बट उनका ऑप्शन ही कुछ नहीं है. मैकेनिकल में पढ़ाया नहीं जा रहा, इलेक्ट्रिकल में पढ़ाया नहीं जा रहा, तो बच्चा कहाँ जाएगा? कुछ तो पेट पालना है उसको. तो एटलीस्ट सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग उसको रोजी रोटी तो प्रोवाइड कर रही है, सैलरी दे रही है उसको. अगर आज अच्छी सैलरी मैकेनिकल को या इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर या सिविल को नहीं है, तो उसके लिए हमें खुद ही सोचना पड़ेगा ना, क्यों नहीं?
Okay, so
any further question on this, खत्री जी? नहीं, एंड नहीं, स्टार्ट तो है. स्टार्ट की बात कर.
I request Dr. Khatri to take these questions offline with Professor Pandey. So any question which is related to the talk, maybe we would like to have it here. And there are online participants which are also
Please, sir.
connected with us.
But you have made two categories like teaching professionals and teaching individuals. But we have some of the people around us semester to semester. So how you will categorize those people actually?
Sir, this point I covered in the teaching professional comparison. you take the, since this talk is available with them online, you can take that portion from the talk or you can copy the total talk. It is there on the laptop. So this I already mentioned there. The people I also mentioned that teachers do not go to the classroom, they send their research scholars to engage the class in IITs, some of the IITs. So they are teaching employees, जो बच्चे को जवाब दे रहा है कि कहाँ नौकरी करोगे, कौन सी इंडस्ट्री नौकरी देगी, मेरा सिर दर्द नहीं है ये.
No, but for that also, I'll say, though I'll not support that, okay, some of them are sending the teacher scholars to the classroom. But the teachers, those who are not taking the courses, there is no question of going to the classroom. So how
So
will
that
you
is
categorize them?
that is the fault of the academic atmosphere in the university.
So what do you think that, sir, whose responsibility is this to somewhat address
इस बारे
this
में
issue?
सारी चीज पब्लिक बोलने से अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. आप we can sit together or maybe some people can sit together of this university at least, क्योंकि ये तो
Actually, sir, the
transmit हो रहा है
problem is
ना.
that, see, the
इसलिए we can discuss this issue, but I have a solution for this.
okay, sir, thank you.
I have a small question.
सर लंबा पूछिए.
No, small question.
मजा तब आएगा.
Regarding the open book. No, regarding the open book. Yeah, open book. I'm asking a question regarding the open book because
Dr. Kusum, just for your information, earlier question was associated to and connected to his question. It was not out of the box altogether.
No. I am willing to speak out publicly, but few things.
I even not mentioned the.
Correct. So my answer was very clear. The responsibility lies there of the university. I also do not take name of any university.
sir,
I also was conscious about that. So, try to moderate the thing.
Correct.
Someone conversation is going on.
चलिए छोड़ दीजिए.
Sir,
आप कुछ पूछ रहे थे.
yes, sir. Regarding the open book questions. So when we formulate a question paper, okay, there are two. In this case, in my opinion, there are two options available for the faculty members. One is the way we do the traditional way. We give the question paper. Students will come by heart all the equations and then write the solutions and all. And based on that, we will judge their ability to memorize, ability to.
Can I interpret here?
Sure.
Whatever you're saying right now, this is the question paper and student can come and memorize and reproduce. As a teacher, will you accept it?
No, sir. There are
yes or
multiple
no?
skills that one should know.
I'm responding to your query only.
Right.
Will you accept this situation?
So, no, sir. The question, let me complete the question first. So, there are two options. One is when we are checking the skills of a student, then memorization is one of the skills, because if you check the OBE, then remembering comes under one of the criterias. So first criteria is remembering, then understanding, then applying, then going to design something.
फंसा दिया ना ब्लूम ने सबको.
No, wait a second, sir. Wait a second.
सबको फंसा दिए तो आप फंसते क्यों उसके अंदर?
Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me complete. Sir, let me complete the question. So now, when we are giving a question which is open book, I have seen that in many foreign universities, they also follow this same criteria. But in that case, rather than restricting the question paper or the solution for 3 hours, they give the students a time period of 7 days or 15 days so that they can analyze all the books, they take in consideration all the learnings they have gone through the courses, and then apply their knowledge and come up with the solution. So first question, is it okay to restrict the solutions to be expected from the students in these 3 hours so that they can go through all the books and notes and to come up with the solution?
Certainly
Not.
इसलिए आपको बताता हूँ, even here, the day I start teaching in the classroom, whatever I cover in the classroom, I dictate few questions to the students कि इसको कर लीजिए, एग्जाम में दूंगा. कुछ तो मैं गारंटी कर देता हूँ एग्जाम में आएगा. पर ऐसा क्वेश्चन देता हूँ कुछ 7 महीने 6 महीने लगा रहा है तभी सॉल्यूशन नहीं मिलता, जब तक वापस नहीं आएगा। तो क्वेश्चन 10 15 20 क्वेश्चन तो ऐसे तैयार हो जाते हैं। जो स्टूडेंट इज कंपेल्ड टू गो थ्रू द इंटरनेट सर्च और बुक सर्च और हैंडबुक सर्च, so this is how I'm trying to increase the knowledge or say analytical power of a student. So आपको IIT के अंदर मैं आंसर शीट दे देता, बच्चों को ले जाओ, इसको 15 दिन के बाद करके मुझे दे देना। उन्होंने हाथ जोड़ दिया, सर हमें नहीं चाहिए, हम यही करें जो करना है।
So now the question is, how can you, that means differentiate between the exams which we are taking under the 3 hours, and we are expecting the students to go through all the books and notes to come up with the solution for at least 4 or 5 questions which are asked in the question paper. Because I believe open book should be given to students, at least they should put their efforts for a week or 10 days so that they can come up with the solution which will be design oriented.
I fully understand your concern, what you're saying, but this is based on, because you are not having any experience of conducting such kind of examination. The duty here is to train the student mentally, psychologically, by the teacher only. And once you have been successfully able to train the student, there will be no problem at all.
Then second question, sir. Most of us has gone through the same traditional way of looking at the examinations. That means following a question paper, giving a question paper and answering the questions in the exam hall. So now coming to us and expecting that we should change our own ideologies and beliefs and learnings without even having a training to how to prepare a question paper will not be justifiable.
Sir, I just responded to her question and requested my HOD, if institute gives me a platform to discuss how to set a question paper for OBE, I am ready to give you a complete solution. I'll show you the answer, question paper that I set and give to the students. You can all go through that. I am willing to do that. So क्योंकि आपने एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया इसलिए आपको परेशानी लग रही है, पर जब मैंने पहली बार किया था 28 साल पहले, मुझे थोड़ी परेशानी लगी थी, पर ओवर द इयर्स परफेक्शन आ जाता है। तो आपको भी आएगा तो बहुत यंग है आप तो अभी।
So we have to go through such a, what to say, workshop before no judging whether this approach is better or the other one.
अगर आप समझते हैं नेशन बिल्डिंग इज योर फोकल पॉइंट एज ए टीचर, तो ये वर्कशॉप करानी पड़ेगी, नहीं करानी तो चल ही रहा।
So no, when you talk about nation building and all, then there are, of course, there are many constraints which the university or the people who are running the colleges, they have to face. For example, I was having a talk with one of my students and he asked me the same question, why sir, computer science is growing so in a booming way, whereas traditional courses like electrical engineering, mechanical and civil are not growing in that rapid manner. So do you think there is no research left in that, or there is almost all the research have been completed? My answer was very simple, that maintaining, okay, a computer lab, okay, you will have to spend somewhere around 10 to 50 lakh rupees, and that will generate a revenue for next 5 to 10 years at least. And when it comes to mechanical, electrical or civil, I asked him, just give me an example. Can you set up a lab, even a simple lab for civil, using just 50 lakh rupees? And then he said, no, it is not that simple. Similarly, when it comes to mechanical, investment is such a huge, that means issue, because every institute, the owner of the institute cannot pump that much of money, because he also has to earn something. There is always a question raised, return of investment.
Can I interpret?
Sure, sure.
I'll request you that please at this stage when we are discussing the education and quality of education, investment part or the money part should be separated. You made a statement there कि no research left there. And
no, I am not saying that.
एक सेकंड
It was his question.
आपने हाँ उसका क्वेश्चन बोला, उसने पूछा आपसे कि no research left there.
Is it that there is no research left there?
No, आपका सिंपल जवाब था, it is because no researcher is left there.
No, sir. Even if you are asking for a researcher to do a research, compared to that, they are publishing in foreign universities. Do you expect that we can do the same research in our institutes or nearby institutes who are having a fund of somewhere around 50 lakh rupees to run the whole institute? I'm not talking about running a department. I'm talking about running an institute.
इस कॉन्सेप्ट के ये क्वेश्चन जो पूछ रहे हैं, ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को बीच में लेके आ रहे हैं, ये दिस नॉट द राइट प्लेटफॉर्म टू डिस्कस द इश्यू ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड द फंडिंग अवेलेबल. It is only a place where we are exchanging the views on the one particular concept. I'll request you that if you can restrict your questions to this concept only, then this is the right place to discuss. But funds are not available, 50,000, 50 lakhs. This is a different issue. We can debate.
Then we cannot
separately on
directly
that.
come and give a one short, simple, straightforward solution that faculty is responsible. Because when you are expecting the faculty to
Sir,
do something,
sir,
then there should be equal level of playing ground, sir.
I got a point. That was my viewpoint. But it doesn't mean that you should follow what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I may be responsible, or you may not be responsible. You are right there. I'm right here. ये तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ कि आप गलत सोच रहे हैं, ना मैं कह रहा हूँ मैं गलत कह रहा हूँ. ये तो एक्सेप्टेंस की बात है. मेरा व्यू था, मैंने बता दिया आपको. एक्सेप्ट करना है वो ठीक है, नहीं करना तो भी ठीक है. ये कंपेलिंग तो किसी के ऊपर भी नहीं है.
When we compare department to department, I find that it is not a level playing ground nowadays. So computer science people always have the ability, facility, much easier to achieve better papers, better research, because they don't have to go for arranging all these resources compared to mechanical, civil or electrical engineers. That was my say. Thank you.
Maybe our HOD Dr. Deepak Gunone can say something on this. He is hardcore mechanical.
Thanks for your question. It is, see, lot of deliberation can happen on questions like that. And eventually, obviously, right, you like you said, mechanical, civil and electrical, these core branches typically needs a lot of humongous investment for research, especially if you want to go for research. For basic laboratory facility, that is quite not the case. But eventually, some of the things can be outsourced from better places if feasible. And like Professor Pandey said, this is more kind of administrative versus individual faculty kind of things, and which cannot be discussed on this platform.
But 1:1 we can discuss, we can have a lot of time spent on this. पर ये प्लेटफॉर्म मेरे हिसाब से ठीक नहीं है, इसको इसके बियॉन्ड ले जाने के लिए. बट ये टेलीकास्ट हो रहा है.
राइट. एंड
तो एक्सपेक्टेड है सर. I appreciate, and it is a, हर एक के साथ न्याय तो होना चाहिए, लेवल प्लेग्राउंड तो मिलना चाहिए. ठीक है, आई एग्री देयर विद यू, पर स्टिल
this Bloom taxonomy analyze and things. So the practical application of the teaching theory classes to the practical labs. We are very much limited to certain, for example, laboratory experiments, that we cannot run all the laboratory experiments to the lab courses. That is one thing. So as you suggested rightly, the industry involvement is highly important in such cases. So I think from the undergraduation courses, semester 1 should be like, as you mentioned, that final year students should go for 15 days industrial visits. Rather, it should be, incorporated from the semester 1, so that the student starts getting exposure to the industry.
आपको इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ. एक सिंपल एनालिसिस आई वुड लाइक टू गिव यू. The BTech programs are 4 years only. First year is made common to entire institute or university. Okay. It used to be 11 years and 5 years of engineering program. Now it is 12 years and 4 years of engineering program. So when the level of physics and mathematics increased in +2 level, that was almost equivalent to what we are taught in the first year. But instead of cutting down these courses in the first year in the all universities, we cut all the higher level specialized courses in engineering branches. So what has happened? 1 year is again same thing is repeated for our students. Final year, last semester they go for SLI. तो टाइम कितना हो जाए? 2.5 साल बचता है. 2-2.5 साल के अंदर कैन यू बिकम इंजीनियर? हमारे सिस्टम ही बहुत जबरदस्त फॉल्टी है.
No, the point I wanted to make here is that the exposure towards industrial industrial exposure to the students is highly important when we talk about the
It must be
aligning
made, it must be made mandatory even for the faculty members. Industrial
Yeah.
इसमें तो बहुत दूर की बात है.
that is true, sir.
Industrial visits and industrial interaction, industrial consultancy must be mandatory for all faculty members. उसके बगैर इंजीनियरिंग नहीं हो सकती, मैकेनिकल से इलेक्ट्रिकल तो नहीं हो सकती.
Like the curriculum itself should have one of the courses from industry. Maybe industry expert, they come and maybe, exposed to their,
एक विचार सुन तो लिया था आपने कैरिकुलम के ऊपर.
yeah.
तो जब तक आप ओपन माइंड से नहीं सोचोगे आप तो कैसे चलेगा? व्हाट यू से इज करेक्ट, आई एग्री विद यू. या तो इंडस्ट्री रन करे या इंडस्ट्री ट्रेन फैकल्टी पढ़ाए उसको. तो सर मैंने यही तो रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ मैं कि
बस भाई हो गया.
हर टीचर को साल में एक बार 1 हफ्ते के लिए किसी इंडस्ट्री डिप्यूट होना चाहिए ड्यूरिंग द वेकेशन पीरियड. अगर 2 साल में 1 साल में 2 साल में जरूर जाना चाहिए, सो दैट यू नो व्हाट इज लेटेस्ट इन द मार्केट. ये नहीं कि जो आपने नोट्स अपने बनाए थे वही नोट्स फिर पढ़ा रहे हो क्लास के अंदर आप. तो अभी हो क्या रहा है कि जो आज से ने 20-1 साल पहले पढ़ा था वही टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ाई जा रही है, अपग्रेड तो हो ही नहीं रहा. तो वी हैव टू राइज टू द ओकेजन सर. सर कैसे हैं? अभी इजाजत है और खड़ा रहूं? इसमें फाइनली नो क्वेश्चंस.
Sir, on
नहीं, पर ऐसा है, मैंने ईमेल एड्रेस ही प्रोजेक्ट किया था इसके ऊपर. किसी को कुछ भी डिस्कस करना, फोन नंबर भी दिया था मैंने फर्स्ट स्लाइड के ऊपर. फील फ्री टू इंटरेक्ट, मैं जवाब जरूर देता हूं. कभी भी कोई आज से 1 महीने बाद भी आए दिमाग में ना, प्लीज राइट टू मी और गिव मी ए कॉल. रात को 2 बजे से लेके सवेरे नहीं 5 बजे तक, 2 से 5 तक कॉल रिसीव तो कर लूंगा पर अच्छा नहीं लगता है. पर रात को 2 बजे तक और सवेरे 5 बजे से लेके कभी भी कॉल कीजिए मुझे आप.
So we have online comments available here. 2 faculty members from some other institutes would like to say, appreciate, well explained by Professor Pandey sir. This is written by Dr. Vipin Kumar Gupta. And then he is also saying that this is the need of the hour. And then I think we should have workshop on setting up the question papers for OBE. That should be arranged. That's the feedback which he is writing. And there is one Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. He says generally professionals avoid such issues which are being said by Professor Pandey too loudly, and he is appreciating about it. That
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. And he says that situation is even worse when it comes to the private institutions and universities. Thank you so much, Professor Pandey. So now it's about to be lunch time. From 1 to 2, we will be having lunch. Before we leave for that, we would like to thank Professor Pandey, and a small token of appreciation. I request Professor Suresh to hand over the small token of memento from the FDP coordinators. Please accept Professor Pandey from FDP organizers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much once again, Professor Pandey. So we would be.
मेरा धन्यवाद भी सुन लीजिए.
जी sir.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are starting back again at up 2 p.m. another session which would be delivered by Professor G.S. Dangiach. So we'll be having 2 sessions, 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. So this is time for break. Online participants, we are breaking for the lunch, and at 2 o'clock, we'll be starting back again. Thank you so much for joining us.
कॉपी रखी है ना आपने इसकी? हाँ वो इसमें है, ये वाली कॉपी को अपन ने